YouTube woken up. Right, that stuff should be working. Alright, cool. Alright, just making sure everything is working nicely. Okay. Alright, let me get my stuff booted up as well. Alright, where is it? There it is. We're gonna do our ToF stuff first. Oh, let me get the music playing as well. Alright. The ceiling. But other than that, I've just been assembling more of the stuff that I've been working on for my setup. So I've been putting together a couple of new monitor arms and a new desk. That's what I spent my day doing. Setting up some more monitor arms and stuff. Because eventually I'm gonna end up having a 6 monitor setup. in its own weird way, but yeah. I got like those you know those, they have like monitor arms where you can put a laptop down, and I got like 2 of them. One of them is just gonna hold my mixer and the other one's gonna hold my pen display. Because it's like a bit cumbersome to use it. I never really to like set it up, I never really used it. But like, yeah, I'm slowly setting things up so I can actually use my stuff. Right, because like it was a bit of a hassle to like just dig it out of the drawer I would keep it in, set it up, and then take it down because I had no place for it. But yeah, I spent a couple hours doing that. At least it wasn't as bad as when I was assembling my bed. My new bed. I shonen manga protagonist, welcome, welcome. But yeah. Slowly working on things, but like I can't fully switch over to it until everything is done there, right? Because I'm still waiting on a new mic arm and then another one of my monitor arms, so I can get everything set up. But yeah, it's crazy though what you can fit on a small desk with a bunch of monitor arms. Because it's like pretty small compared to my current one. But I'm gonna be moving the current table that I'm using elsewhere. No, I'm on my old bed. There are 2 beds in my room right now. I'm still using the old bed. That's why like most of my room is inaccessible, like more than half of it. It's like a disaster in here. Because I have 2 beds set up now. I have another desk area set up, but like everything's still work in progress. And then I'm gonna get rid of my old stuff after everything is ready to fully move over. I also have to like get wires made for networking and stuff, so that's gonna be a pain to crimp cables because I have big skill issue on doing that. Cable crimping. Sometimes I end up just like not getting the twisted pairs done properly. Because I'm gonna need to route a bunch of those as well. But yeah. It's gonna be really nice once it's done. But like, the actual cost of it all is just crazy when you think about it. Because it's like, the monitor arms aren't cheap. And I have a couple of those. I bought a new desk, that wasn't cheap. And then I got a new desk mat for that. And then like, it's just crazy. But it'll be nice once it's done. Alright, what do we got here? Okay. What's today's join off? Okay, deep sea. But yeah, like eventually everything will get moved over and set up nicely. It'll be a lot cleaner that way. And like I'm trying to like make it as well so like the cables aren't gonna be as messy. Because like they're kind of a mess right now. Next week is Osterata raid, oh boy. That'll be something, man. I mean, I guess there's like enough creep that we can just brute force it with damage. Kind of. So it shouldn't be that bad. But like, oof. It could be worse. Right, it could be worse. We have like enough stack creep right now to help with brute forcing it. But yeah. It is nice though having like the monitor arms and stuff. Alright, let's see. Any WL6s, advanced combat mechas, and other stuff. Okay. Gotta make sure my health gets them all. Alright, I'm gonna quickly teleport to thing. I'm just gonna get my dailies finished first, then we'll do join ops. But yeah. It's just things have been busy lately. But hey, at least I'm finally getting the stuff done that I've been meaning to do for months. Really since the start of the year. I've been meaning to do a lot of this stuff at the beginning of the year. And now it's like almost over. But at least I'm getting them done now. Been a long time coming to get that stuff done. But yeah, better late than ever, I guess. Right? Better late than ever. Alright, let's get him warped in. Alright, after I get this done, I can do join ops. I'll do 2 join ops and then kill a bunch of world bosses and stuff. And then we can finish the reacts that we had, like, stockpiled up a bit. Oh, I still need armor guards. Alright, let me head on over. You were wondering, and then it's like, oh, he's next week's raid. Well, he'll come back next week, or tomorrow, or whatever. Right? Now you know. Right? But yeah. Maybe when I'm like, when my actual desk thing, my new desk setup is fully finished, I'll share a picture, but that's still gonna take a while. Maybe I'll take a picture and I'll share it when it's like fully done. Alright, let me fix my alt setup. We'll just do it normally. We're not gonna do the shortcut today. Hey Flagger. Welcome, welcome. Oh, we freaking all got stuck in the ceiling. Alright. Alright, let me get my ult into the boss room. Alright, time to kill Chiron. Nice and quick. Alright, let's get this done. I wonder though, are people also doing these ultra shortcuts on the on that server? Are people doing them in the join ops? On the warp server, the ultra shortcuts? Surely people are doing them there. Surely. Right, surely they're doing them there. Alright. Let's get on in. Let's get on in. Alright. Easily kill this thing. Oh, my ult just flying to the ceiling. I really wish you could like just skip that cutscene. It's kind of annoying. Yeah, I know. I mean, that's the reason why skipping is faster. Because the stupid cutscene. I have no idea. I don't play on PlayStation. I don't know how you enable microphone on PS5. I'm sorry. I have no clue. Alright, let's go cheer on. But like, the voice stuff in the game isn't like a persistent type of thing. It's like you can record a voice message and then send it. Right. It's not like anything super crazy. But yeah, I have no idea how you do it on PlayStation. Maybe there's like a setting or something for it? I have no clue. Alright, let's go kill some world bosses. Alright, let's go get some support points. Get some world bosses killed. Maybe climb a bit more Original War. Why not? There should be also like what, a new Infinity Nikki patch update soon or whatever? That should be soon, right? I don't know. I don't know how you turn on the microphone there. I don't play on, I haven't touched the mobile version, ever. I've only played on the PC version. So again, I have no idea. I don't have an iPad or anything. Anyone else know? Oh, any iPad users know? Come on, get your free chest. Do they not want the free chest? Guess they don't want the free chest. But free is free. Oh well. Alright, let's go loot the next one. You can on Android. Well, if you know, if you can get it working on Android, at least you got it working on Android. But yeah, I haven't really touched the mobile versions of anything. My phone can't really run the game. Not like I would play it on my phone, when I can just play it from my computer or my Steam Deck. Alright, let's see. Alright, let's get loaded on to the next one. Alright. Oh damn, this person already killed it. Let me loot this one then. We're at 300 out of 1500 support points. Gotta get all the support points. Alright, gotta get all the support points. Alright, Robarg's turn next. Alright, let's go to teleport to Robarg. Let's get loaded on in. But yeah, best to just get everything finished now. So I won't have to worry about it later. Ah, nice. Wait, shouldn't it work the same way then on console? If you got it to work on Android, doesn't it wouldn't that work the same way on the other platforms? I guess there's like a setting you have to enable. But yeah, like I don't know. I've never tried to use it there. Now we can loot this one. And then I teleport to the next one. I just constantly teleporting, getting all of these done. Alright, it takes like 15 minutes or so. Get my maximum support points. Hit. Yeah, I guess it should work as well on the other platforms, no? But yeah. But hey, at least you got it working there. Right, at least you got it working there. Gotta get all these juicy support points. Yep, it never gets old at dying in one hit. Especially thanks to all the pain it caused back in the day. Back in my day, Sobek would kill you in one hit. Right, back in the day, you would kill you in one hit. And it would just be a mountain of corpses. Because everyone would die. Over and over and over again. Alright, we'll just wait for it to spawn back in. Come on. Yeah, this is a nice way to get all those juicy support points. Those thick, juicy support points. Because I need all of them. I need all the support points. And someone else is just going around killing all the world bosses immediately too, because Lucy is also already dead. On to the next Lucia then. Kill one, then go to the next one. Gotta get the support points after all. Robarg next. How?
Awaiting command.
Is there a way to skip update? You can skip the story. But the actual update to boot up the game, no. Hi, Derico. Welcome, welcome.
Target eliminated.
Oh, wait. Shit. Clicked the wrong button. But yeah. Exactly. Sure, there's a way to make it work, but that way to make it work. Also, it would also risk a ban. You'd also be at risk for a ban by doing that. So even less reason to do it, to try to do that. You would also be risking a ban. For what it's worth. I mean, you can go play it on PS5. It's going to be bigger than mobile. I don't know how big it is on PS5. I don't have a PlayStation. I only play the PC version. PC version is like 80 gigabytes or something right now. I don't know. I haven't checked. I haven't checked in a long while. Yeah, it's going to be bigger than mobile for sure. How much bigger? I have no idea. I just know that it's bigger. Yeah, probably. Alright, I'm gonna go kill Colton. Exactly. If you have the choice not to, why would you play on mobile? If you have options, it's like, why would you pick the worst option? Oh, It is what it is. Damn, that guy thinks we're doing joint ops. Not doing joint ops anymore. Just play the game and pick an element if you're gonna play as damage. Take your time, don't rush it, man. The stuff will always be there later. No need to rush everything. But like, it really depends on what you want to like do. What is your goal in the game? Because that'll change what you do. Yeah, otherwise it's like you'd have to like look at this big ass like freaking thing. And then just go through things there. But like, honestly, there's no need to try to rush things either. It's not like the things are gonna go away. There's no need to rush. Other than, yeah, like pick an element and then build around it. Yeah, you can check his then, if he made one. Because, like, it's gonna be super crazy if you, like, really go into detail on every aspect. Yeah, it's still pretty much more than enough. It's not like things have really changed much. Yep, they don't work like those. You want to make sure they're within the same element. Oh, you mean finish downloading? Oh, nice. At least you got a nice quick download. Yeah, the dual element does not count. It doesn't. Alright, I'm gonna go kill Hera again. Yeah, this is there for easier gearing. It just makes gearing easier. Not much else. Alright, let's see. Let's go kill these things. I have no idea. But I assume the more the better. As long as it's actually real RAM and not a swap file. Because like that's the thing that annoyed me when I was like looking at buying phones before. Like on Android, for some reason, they like to advertise having a swap file as bigger RAM. Which is just bullshit, man. Oh wow, you could have an 8GB swap file on your phone. That's not the same as having 8 more gigabytes of RAM. It's not. Yeah, GSM Arena does come in handy a lot. It's just so much of a pain because of all the bullshit you just see it thrown at you when you're looking. And like how many people have gotten scammed from that because they don't know what they're buying. And they don't realize, oh, this is not how the thing works. It's like, oh, this thing says it has 16 gigs of RAM. but it actually has 4. And then they put like a 12 GB swap file. Yeah. It is what it is though, that's what they call themselves. Very handy website though. Very handy. Yeah, it really isn't much of a thing anymore. Oh, it is what it is. That's what they call themselves. Depends on what region you're on. If you're in North America, sure. But you have to be on one of like the non-PlayStation servers. Because there is cross-platform now, but the original PlayStation servers are isolated. So like, if you're on one of those PlayStation servers, I wouldn't be able to add you. Alright, how many more do I need? It has to be in an North America server, but not a PlayStation North America server. I wonder if they're ever gonna like merge them across at some point. Who knows? I see. Well, the thing is, you can still even log into those servers even on Android. Like, I could make an account on a PlayStation server from PC right now as well, because all the servers are there. It's weird. But yeah, you can do that. Okay, hit the support point cap, good. Don't need that anymore. I'm pretty sure I'm like done with everything else I needed. Alright, let's just double check the, what's that mode? I'm gonna double check Landlord to make sure I got the stuff there. Oh yeah, I didn't buy these yet. Good thing I remembered, because I do need these. Always good to have those. Especially because I don't want to waste vitality getting those materials, when I can just slowly get them for free this way. Way better to get it from there. It's just way better to do it that way. I guess I should double check the Jolt market. I don't have a sponsor. Not at the moment, no sponsor. I currently have no sponsors. So there is no ad read for a sponsor. Because I don't have any right now. Alright, let's see. Okay, no, I already sold those. So I don't need to do the thing there. Just gonna double check over here. Alright, don't need anything there. Right, it still says join on. Not anymore. Alright, there we go. Oh, nice. Yeah, after you make your stuff on your Android, you can even play it on your PlayStation after as well with the same account. You can log in on both. Which is neat. So if you ever wanted to play it on your PlayStation, which will probably be a better experience than on your phone anyways, you have the option to do that. Which is nice. You have the ability to do that if you want to. Alright, we got those materials there. Was there anything else I need to get done here? Okay, cool. That one's maxed out now. Right, I gotta slowly max out my other mounts. Those will take a while though. Right, it'll take a while to get all of these maxed out. I mean, it's just play the game for now. Don't pull on anything, any gacha until you've decided what you want to play. Right, like just play through the start now. See what you like, and then from there you can ask. Because it's like too complicated if I just answer every single thing in general if it doesn't apply to you. Because it depends on what you want to do and how you want to play it. Things can change. Because it is a multiplayer game. It is an MMO. So like, the way things work is a bit different compared to a lot of single player games. I mean, actually, no, because you'll be stuck with, like, what? At the start, you'll be stuck with Ganano, Zeke, and Yam Yao. No. CN just got 5.4. Yeah, you get Ganano for the first week, which is actually pretty decent for starting off. Especially because, like, she's really good at shattering shields. For, like, while you're, like, doing stuff earlier on. But, like, until you've fully decided what you want to go into, I mean, like, gold nucleus is whatever. Just spend... You can use gold nucleus whenever you get them for free, but never use dark crystals on gold nucleus. Right, so, like, never use these dark crystals on gold nucleus banner, never. But you'll be getting hundreds, if not thousands of gold nucleus by playing the game. You can just spend them whenever, and see what you get. There'll be a lot of stuff in there. But, like, hold off on pulling with red nucleus and using dark crystals until you've decided what you want to do. But, like, yeah, just play the game, do the exploration, do whatever. You'll get a bunch of stuff along the way. The standard banner pool is insanely massive. So, like, you'll have a variety of stuff to play with even from there. But you'll have a huge variety because there's a lot in there. A lot. And you can, like, pick and choose what you like from what you get there first. Until, like, after you've gotten used to how things work, that's when you can try to consider pulling unlimited banners. And besides, it's not like you're gonna be relevant in doing damage and content later on for a long while. And there's no point in just rushing the current meta right now, because by the time you'll get there, the meta will be completely different anyways. Like, for like the first couple of months, you're going to be playing catch-up. So there's no point in like trying to rush the meta stuff. There's no point. Looks like this. We got display settings. There's a lot of stuff in here. Sure. No, mayonnaise is an instrument. I thought mayonnaise is an instrument. Wait, one sec.
Is mayonnaise an instrument?
No, Patrick, mayonnaise is not an instrument.
Are you sure? Are you sure? Don't use it as thermal paste. I mean, you can use it as one, but it's not gonna be a good thermal paste. So, is mayonnaise an instrument?
Horseradish is not an instrument either.
But yeah. And of course, horseradish.
Horseradish is not an instrument either.
He made a sequel. So even horseradish. But yeah, there's your answer. Gotta love this old meme. Wait, they gave us multiple ability wheels for Infinity Nikki? Oh, that's nice. What the hell is this? Modern audience beg Sony to shut down problematic. Is this a Nanta? Fuck it, I kinda wanna see this.
Hey, what's up, guys? We're here. So just like anything else
What
in the gaming
happened?
industry, whenever there's something good and promising on the horizon, people start seething about it. They find any reason to be upset, and that's happening once again with the upcoming release of an open world RPG named...
I mean, it's not upcoming right now. It's gonna be who knows how long until it comes out. But yeah.
Ananta. Now, despite the controversy we're going to look at today, overall, there's a lot of support. You can see the latest gameplay trailer that was uploaded 5 days ago. It has nearly 3 million views on this trailer alone. And also, you can see the like to dislike ratio. People are very impressed. And I'll let the trailer play a little bit in the background as I talk here. But basically, people have labeled this the anime Grand Theft Auto. And for good reason, but it goes beyond that. It appears that they have taken a lot of successful aspects of other games and mashed it into this one game, which normally sounds very exciting, right?
Okay.
But of course, we live in times where people want to be miserable about everything, and here you have anime girls plus fun.
I think 2027, man. 2026, probably not.
Yeah, that makes the usual suspects seethe in anger, including games journalists and shills on social media who are trying to not only disparage this game, but also are encouraging Sony to try to take this down with legal
Bruh.
action. The same type of people who cheer on Palworld and are condemning Nintendo for the lawsuit they filed against that game. But anyways, there's a lot to look at with this game. Like I said, a lot of aspects. I think a lot of people are sold alone with a cute anime girl wearing yoga pants dropping bombs from behind the three-point line. But anyways, this has a lot of aspects. I can't go through all of them, but there's one component of the game where you can do police-like interactions, including arresting people, doing body searches, drug tests, and issuing fine tickets. A little while ago, I talked about Take Us North, which is a propaganda piece where you play the role of an illegal migrant trying to enter the United States. And I said they got it all wrong. Not just the propaganda.
No,
but they should've done a
2027,
reverse
2077.
Control,
That's
but
when it comes
looks
out.
like Ananta is doing that reverse that I talked about.
Surely that's
There's
what'll come out.
also a dating system in this game.
Yeah.
And oh, boy howdy, can I not wait for the amount of people calling users and participants of the system incels, predators, fascists. And you go, how would they call them fascists? Well, it's 2025, okay? They'll find a way to call people fascists for playing a dating sim aspect of this game. But anyways, good news for a lot of people. This is a free-to-play game. And a lot of people assumed without any sort of confirmation that this was a gacha game. They never came out and said this was going to be a gacha game, but a lot of journalists and users on social media assumed based on, you know, the anime characters and the open world concept.
I have no
But
idea.
no, it is not your traditional gacha game. It's going to have in-game purchases.
I have no idea what the
cosmetic
prediction
stuff
will
like
be.
Furniture, cars, outfits,
But we'll see a
stuff like
bunch
that.
of clowns
So I'm
trying
sure they're gonna
to
make a gorgillion
jump
dollars on this
ship
game,
to
be
it
honest with
when
you.
it comes.
And the hype is definitely there.
And
At this point, I believe
the
there's
ones
over
that
11 or
will, the
12
clowns that will jump ship, won't do a good job anyways, because they won't understand what the fuck they should be doing. And they won't even, like, actually figure out what to do with the thing in there. Yeah, it's dead if there's no multiplayer. I do find it funny, though, how, like, empty some of the stuff is in there. Woo is never gonna have content. It hasn't had any content, it never will. Yeah, but yeah, they're gonna jump ship, and then they're gonna go play it, and then they're not gonna understand what the fuck they should be doing. And then they're gonna complain, and then they're gonna do the same shit again, and then find the next thing to jump ship to. That's what's gonna happen. Trust me. They're complaining lack of combat events is ridiculous with Mickey Mouse minigames. I mean, bruh. As if the combat in the fucking thing they like to prop up is anything special, man. You literally have 2 buttons. You got 2 buttons, and then you can switch to another character. Wow. Very, very crazy combat, guys. Wow, I'm so impressed. And, like, what, you're just doing the same thing. You're just mashing your rotation in order, swap to the next character. Do the same thing over and over again. The only thing you have is, like, super flashy animations, so you can't actually see what the fuck is going on. As a distraction. Yeah, it always sucked. I've been saying that for, like, 2 years. I've been saying that since I played the one of the earlier betas, and then it got worse, and then even worse on release, and then here we are now. It is what it is. Yeah, fun thing about Nanto and seeing the animations are so ridiculous you can't see where you are at. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, at least you can turn a bunch of them off. At least you have sliders to turn them off in ToF.
12 million
But yeah.
registered users who are waiting for this game to come out after the latest trailer. There's a lot of hype surrounding this game. But of course, like I said, nothing good can come to the gaming industry without getting the usual suspects very upset, including journalists at The Gamer.
Yeah,
who
the
said,
journalists.
Ananta isn't anime GTA 6. It's a creatively bankrupt gacha game.
What?
Now, of course, like I said, people are calling it the anime GTA, but that's not all it is. It's kind of a funny
Like, I don't see what's wrong with copying all those types of games. Again, like, when I'll probably, I still need to, like, when I'm done with all the stuff I'm working on, I'll make a video on Ananta, on my thoughts on it. But it's more of, like, what I would like to see them do, rather than just a Doom post thing. I mean, problem with GTA 6 is, first year will be consoles only, and then, even then, when it gets the PC release, you have to deal with Riot's awful DRM and launcher. That's, like, the only complaints I would have for GTA 6. Because, like, if you've ever had to use Riot's, not Riot's, my mistake, Rockstar. I don't know why my freaking thing, my brain's all over the place. I've been busy doing other shit IRL. But yeah, Rockstar's launcher is terrible. Their DRM and their launcher is terrible. Ananta won't be on Switch 2. No way the Switch 2 is gonna get Ananta. Yeah, I don't see that happening. But like, yeah, Rockstar's launcher is dog shit. If you ever had to use it, like, you can ask people, and like there are freaking guides on how to get GTA 5 installed. There are like a bunch of FAQs on Rockstar's website on how to get GTA 5 running because of how awful their launcher is. Like, you can literally just go and buy GTA 5, and depending on how you bought it, you could spend literal hours just trying to like log in and get the game to let you like actually play the game, even though you bought a legitimate copy, because of how awful their launcher and DRM is. It's actually like super absurd. But yeah, I don't know why they had to do it the way they did, but it's a pain.
Joke, but there's a lot of other aspects to this that people are discovering and they see being pulled from other games and put into one setting, which normally is a very good thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing. The only downside is that they didn't actually do the full thing and actually mix them together. They just have them in there. At least that's what the trailer showed. They didn't like actually combine all the aspects together. What about iPhone 17? What about it? Right, newer iPhone gonna be better than the older one, a little bit faster. If you really had to play your thing on a phone, it is one of the better phones to play the things on, if you were going to be playing it on a phone. But I don't know why you would want to be playing this stuff on a phone if you have access to other devices. But yeah.
Of course, they're calling it a gacha game as well. They assumed, without any confirmation, this was a gacha game. It never was being sold as a gacha game, so isn't it great to see a journalist in their own title, not corrected by the way, it has not been edited, calling this a gacha game to hate on it, when it was never confirmed to be one in the first place. And it's even more ironic coming from the gamer, who on their best pick, their staff pick of 2024 for the best games, they ranked Palworld number 3 of all games. This is the exact type of thing they're condemning. They took obviously a lot of aspects and inspiration from Pokemon, and they cheer this on, but with Ananta, they're very, very upset and condemning it. Very, very ironic. But anyways.
I mean, like, the thing is, if those gaming laptops are insanely expensive, so is that iPhone. Let's be real, in those places, the iPhone would be just as expensive, if not more. Like, that's just gonna be the reality, though. Like, regardless, they're going to be stupid expensive when you're getting to that price points.
They call this game, Ananta, something that feels hollow. It sucks. Games can look this good and feel so hollow. And they mention that they're taking swinging and parkour mechanics from Insomniac's Spider-Man titles. Oh boy. We'll see a lot more posts about that right now, where we have viral posts like this with 27,000 likes, nearly 7 million views saying, "Hey Insomniac, can I copy your homework looking game? How do these gacha games get away with straight up ripping off Spider-Man, not saying swinging mechanics shouldn't be done, but these are literally the Spider-Man 2 animations." Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, leave the billion.
I think the thing is, like, you look at the streets and stuff there below, you see it's not, like, super dense, or there's, like, not much going on down there. But again, I think that's just the limitation of what they're freaking working with, and they're using DirectX 11. That's probably part of it. But
their
yeah.
own company alone. There's a lot to unpack here. I mean, number one, like we already talked about, this is not a gacha game. So they're using gacha in an inflammatory way to try to, I don't know, try to insult the game. But it's just not true. It's not a gacha game. So also people are saying Sony...
Yeah, like, it's basically like playing multiple games at once, but like worse than the original ones that they're playing. What they could have done, though, is like actually just mix all the stuff that they have copied together. If they actually mix it together and not just have them together, that could make it really interesting. But they haven't showed them actually mixing the elements together, right? And that's like my concern there. Yeah, the Nick Tech one, Sony lawyers looking at Annette, but they don't care. Why would Sony care? They literally freaking promoted the video on their YouTube channel and shit, on their social media pages. Why the fuck is Sony gonna go after them like that? This is like so dumb, man. Like, it's, of course Sony knew what was going on. Like, they freaking, because like the thing is, you have to get approved by the freaking platform you're gonna be publishing it on. And you have to like get a bunch of stuff and set it up there before they'll even post the stuff like that. Yeah, like they'll also do that, right? It's so dumb, man. And, like, I don't see them doing that. It's not like they can sue them anyways. It's not like they have patents and shit over, like, those things in there, and the whole patent stuff is ridiculous anyways. Yeah, it's
lawyers looking at
ridiculous.
The new Ananta gameplay footage. Like, there's something there that they should file a lawsuit over. And then you have people saying you're effing joking, referring to other similar mechanics. And this person says, I hope Insomniac sues the ever-living F out of them. Now, this might seem stupid without an explanation, but I'll give you a brief reason why this is so dumb. They published the official gameplay trailer on the PlayStation YouTube channel.
Yep.
So if Sony had an issue with anything to do with this game,
they would have gone.
Why would they not only support it but promote it and publish it? I literally cannot believe these are sentient human beings saying these things. And if you keep breaking it down, you can also see that NetEase is a part of this, and of course they work closely with Sony, and Marvel Rivals made them a huge stack of cash. And then we're getting into a more detailed explanation. I think this does a really good job, so I'm going to read through this really quick. To answer your question in the second paragraph, Ananta is heavily advertised and marketed by Sony. Sony owns Insomniac Games. NetEase published Ananta and is also partnered with Marvel and produces arguably the most popular Marvel game of recent years. NetEase and Sony had a high-profile partnership back in 2021. Likely their partnership roles have expanded over the years. So if it really was a problem, Sony would have been the one to sue. Evidently, Sony is just fine with it. Not only fine with it, but supportive of it. Sony likely gave NetEase their explicit permission to use these Spider-Man mechanics, probably even asked some...
To be fair, nobody owns these mechanics. Yeah, Sony publishes Spider-Man because they have the rights. So the thing is, the funny thing with Spider-Man IP, because way back in the day, Marvel was going out of business. This was around the time of the Iron Man movie, right? The first Iron Man movie, a little bit before then. What happened was Marvel was about to go under, and they were trying to sell a bunch of their IP so they could stay afloat. And basically, Sony bought Spider-Man, right? So like the Spider-Man IP, it's for like publishing stuff with it. Sony technically owns it. But yeah. But yeah, you could call it a Marvel they survived, and that's how they're around. But yeah. It's because of that stuff. I mean, the GTA thing. But like, again, like, the IP is owned by Rockstar for GTA, right? But it's not like they own the mechanics and the stuff you can do in there. Right? And besides, it's freaking ridiculous when they're thinking like, oh yes, they can own how these things work. It's so fucking stupid. You know what? You know what? I want to own the triangle. And then I'll go after every single 3D, anyone using any type of 3D rendering or 3D models or whatever. I want to own the triangle. Yeah, I want to own, like, you know what? Let's also own geometric shapes. I want to own the triangle. I want to monopolize the triangle. No one else can have triangles. How about that? How about that? No more triangles. Those like support beams and stuff like that that have triangular shapes, no more. All the stuff in construction stuff, like, no more. All the stuff you get like when you're rendering 3D graphics, no more. Because you need triangles. You need lots and lots of triangles, no more. Right? It's ridiculous when you think about it. Right? But you know. So you're not gonna have that in any type of 3D graphics stuff. Actually no. Technically the Sega Saturn, but that's its own other thing. I think that was like the only time they were used, quadrilaterals were used. It was like the Sega Saturn for rendering 3D graphics. Part of the reason why that thing flopped, that's its own other thing. That was a nightmare for people to actually do stuff with. Because everything else is using triangles, but yeah. I took approximation, but yeah. You think it's the modern audience who's problem with this? Yeah. But they don't know the hypocrisy of people who try to call out the other games, and not even a fraction of people raise their hands to defend Ananta, yeah. And it's not like we haven't seen that stuff from them before as well. It's ridiculous, man.
Some Insomniac devs to help with the implementation. You can now have your opinion about how it's one-to-one, it looks, and I agree, but it's a nothing burger. The parties involved, based on available facts, likely consented to it. I mean, if these partners here had any issues, if Sony had any issue, they would have done something. They wouldn't have allowed this to happen. So I don't understand the amount of bootlicking for Sony and people encouraging them to sue, or Insomniac, which of course is owned by Sony, to take some sort of legal action against Ananta is just absolutely silly. It'd be completely self-defeating to sue someone that you're working with. It makes no sense, especially when there's a positive result going. But people are seeing these slight comparisons and freaking out as if this never existed in any other game. Every person who is whining about Ananta, especially when it comes to the Spider-Man 2 references and the swinging motions, these are likely the same people who condemned Nintendo's lawsuit against PAL.
So here's the thing with ToF voice chat. One sec. It works like this. You can send a chat message with voice. So like, this is a test message, 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's too short to be sent. Well. Yeah, so this is a test chat message, whatever. There you go. I guess it won't let me record it, whatever. Too short. But you can click on the microphone, and then you can say stuff. And this is just how you do your messages, or whatever. But yeah. Are they talking about Mega Boss? No last minute gamers, damn. People wanna race there. Yeah, CM never got 2x World Boss. They were careful enough to at least not have it applied to Mega Boss chest. I miss double drop World Bosses. But yeah, nobody uses it. Nobody uses voice chat in the game. How to clear storage, delete your files, uninstall stuff? I don't know. But yeah.
So I think there's a lot of hypocrisy. I would just assume if you saw someone mad at Ananta for this, you should also assume that they're cool with Nintendo. Otherwise, they're a massive hypocrite. So it's just very, very weird. But of course, you have these very aggressive posts we looked at, encouraging lawsuits against Ananta, and you have posts like this describing very clearly the stakes that we're talking about here and how ridiculous these posts really are. How do these people respond who have been attacking Ananta? Oh, they don't want to have a real discussion. They say,
of course,
this is the most copium post I've ever seen, LOL. There's no reason to even try and argue with these people. They've made their minds up. This is the average social media user. They make their mind up about something, and they just don't want to hear something that conflicts with their own opinion, and this is really a prime example of that. But of course, we have some other people confirming what was previously stated in that long post.
I know, it's ridiculous, man.
I confirmed today, I asked the Ananta
it
devs
is
about
super
this
ridiculous
game show and possible conflicts with Spider-Man plagiarism complaints. They told me there's no issue for similar reasons. And here's Mark Kern, an OG WoW dev, saying OG Blizzard was never original. Our formula was to take what works from other games and combine them, then add some unique flavoring on top, just a sprinkle. It works. Ananta is just doing what Blizzard did, and also what I would assume a lot of other developers are doing as well. It is perfectly normal to take inspiration from other games, to see what's working for them and try to incorporate it in your own game. As long as you're not completely copying the entire thing one-to-one, start to finish,
it's
every
hard
aspect of the game, I think you're going to be okay. And again, a lot of the people whining about Ananta are the same ones who are whining about Nintendo suing Pal World, so very ironic. Also, as pointed out here too, we're going to have a tourist issue. I guarantee there's going to be a
there will
tourist issue. As with any anime-themed game or any anime-themed piece of media these days, it's going to get a lot of attention, and the tourists are going to be out in full force. You can see some posts already starting to show up. This user's basically saying, can we talk about the fact that there's too many characters getting fan service? Saying, is this character even wearing a suit? Oh, and this character has revealing spots, and they're wearing plastic instead of a real suit. Please tell me y'all's opinion, and we should be respectful towards each other, okay? Thanks for reading. We're not doing this here.
Bruh.
We're not gonna start whining about fan service in Ananta, okay? I think it's very obvious they're trying to play into that at least a little bit. We're not doing this. We're not gonna have the same repeats of other popular
sure they
games,
do it, but it's whatever. They want to do it that way, they want to do it that way.
Let's say Genshin Impact, for example. We're not gonna have people coming in and trying to alter how things are going to be presented for everyone else, the vast majority of people who might be playing this game who do not have an issue with these
most
things.
people don't give a fuck.
Have an issue, they'll be normal enough to just, I don't know, not engage with it. And even in the game, it sounds like a lot of the outfits, that's what you're going to be paying for in terms of microtransactions. So if you don't want to buy revealing outfits, then literally close your wallet and don't do it. But anyways,
they're gonna be optional anyways. It's not like you're forced into them.
Share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.
But yeah, that's the world we live in, man. Alright, let's see. Okay, we didn't finish these. Here, this crypto scammer cancer patient. Let's give this one a look.
Hello guys and gals, me Mutahar. I was away this weekend, so unfortunately I couldn't talk about today's topic. I know that other creators have already talked about it. I know that, you know, it's kind of old news by now, but it's just such an insane topic that I have to discuss it, and a lot of it has to do with computer hacking and, of course, cybersecurity, ladies and gentlemen. So this is a clip that I'm about to show you from an individual who has stage 4 cancer. And they, surprisingly, the one good thing in cryptocurrency happened, okay? This is a guy that had stage 4 cancer known as Rastaland TV. You know, this is a coin where, again,
woke up and saw Capcom being shit again. Of course they are.
To pay for this person's cancer treatments, right? Now, out of all the things that I've seen in the world of crypto, dollar cancer might be the kindest, most wholesome thing that I've seen, and that's huge. Okay, remember, this is the same website where we were discharging firearms into the air. Anybody can be a developer on this dogwater platform, but you know, when somebody has stage 4 cancer, when somebody has cancer, okay, arguably the what? What's worse than faking your cancer is stealing from someone that has cancer. So this clip kind of hurts to watch, and I'll let you guys play it because I think you need to experience the same level of anger that I have.
No, 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 no. No.
Hell, my spiders are not doing the thing. Rip.
No.
I'm not gonna lie, man. That clip really like hurts. Okay, just the wailing, like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm fucking mad. Okay. All right.
Yep.
If you steal from cancer, if you steal from people that have cancer, you deserve to get fucking butt fucked for the rest of your life with a rusty knife. Okay. God damn. My life was saved for a whole 24 hours until someone tuned into my stream and got me to download a verified game on Steam.
Yep.
After this, I was drained for over $32,000 US of my creator fees earned on Pump.Fun, and everything quickly changed. I can't breathe, I can't think, I'm completely lost on what is going to happen next. Now, from my understanding, a bunch of other people came together and raised money for this guy. So the money is still stolen, don't get me wrong. But at least as far as, and there's plenty of victims, this guy might appear to have been gotten whole, okay? But anyways, what game on Steam could have actually had this guy's stuff stolen?
Okay,
so there's a
which
game
one?
called Block Blasters. Now this is a Steam DB page, and it's by a company called Genesis Interactive. Now looking into their entire play history, they've apparently never gotten above 10 actual active players a day.
Damn.
But apparently they've got plenty of victims. So G-Data Cyber Defense brought this game to people's attention. Now if you look at the actual cover for this game, you might notice that, whoa, is that AI generated?
You don't.
I would wager that
You
most
can't
of this
speed up
game,
your
and I haven't played it, by
PS5.
the way, I haven't.
That's the neat part. You don't. You don't speed up your PS5.
Analyzed it myself, but it looks to be
Because you
very
can't.
AI generated shit. Now there's a free-to-play game on Steam, which if you ever looked at the free section, there's a lot of free shit on Steam all the time. And there's a reason why I don't download free stuff, because this isn't the first time this has happened on Steam. Earlier, I believe this year, was a game called Pirate Fi, which also contained malware on Steam. Steam has a huge info stealer, cryptocurrency draining malware issue. Now the thing about it is, did Valve know?
Yeah, do you think they're gonna know how to do that? But also, the amount of stuff they would have to do to be able to actually do that is going to be beyond them. Like, if they have to ask, the answer is you can't.
No, honestly, I don't know if Valve entirely knew about this, but obviously the game was removed when the entire community started raising awareness about it, right? When people were like, whoa, you know, now that over
How to speed it up? Connect to a faster internet connection. Oh wait, no, you can't really do that on PlayStation because of the weird shit they have set up there. Use your PlayStation in a wired mode? I don't know, you get faster internet? You need faster internet, I guess?
$100,000 has been stolen, not just from a cancer patient, but just in general. Yeah, obviously Valve jumped in and removed the game. But I think it's a little bit too late, because ultimately, one of the things about Steam, and this goes for anything like the App Store, the Google Play Store, when you have these platforms, you know, I feel like if you're willing to take 30% cuts on people or just host stuff onto your platform, you should do the extra due diligence, especially if you're making like Valve money, especially if you're making Apple money, especially if you're making like Google money. You should absolutely make sure whatever shit gets uploaded to your storefront should not have fucking malware in it. So how did this malware kind of work? Well, thankfully, the guys behind it seem to be like expert Vive coders. So for a while, this actual shit used to sit on Steam pretty fine. Like, this was the actual Steam page. And other than, you know, just what you're seeing over here, it was a pretty innocuous looking game. So obviously, there was a patch that was pushed to the game that introduced a few files. So here, you can see inside the actual file structure, which was, you know, gathered from SteamDB, it came with game2.bat, which would be launched and deliver a actual payload to you. It would also have third-party OGG v1 and v3. So these files were added into people's systems long after the game had come out. So for a while, there wasn't actually malware sitting. But Game 2 Bat actually did a few things that were a little bit not kosher, if you will. So a lot of the values in some of these batch files actually contained hard-coded values, like for instance setting a password as 121, dealing with 7zip.exe. But of course, obviously it would launch a bunch of VBS scripts. These VBS scripts, when launched onto the user system, would start to look for people's extensions on their web browsers. So for instance, it would start scanning for Chrome, for Edge, for Brave, Vivaldi, Opera Stable, and Opera GX2. So one of the actual malware runs that I saw over here provided by the
Interesting. Firefox is safe. They're not looking for Firefox. That is interesting. Search that on Bilibili? Okay. What is that? What is this thing that you want me to search on Bilibili? Ananda stuff? Wait. Which one? Get better internet. That's the only way to speed it up. Okay, what am I looking for here? Which one? Which one here? Wait, we'll finish the other video first, and then we'll go there.
Individuals who, were running this inside AnyRun, which is a sandbox
the short one? Okay.
machine for you guys to see what a malware will do. Now, of course, underneath this, you can see that for Chrome, just for instance, looking into the extension data, it was looking for Phantom, MetaMask, Magic Eden, TronLink, MetaMask Edge, Soulflare, BitGet Wallet. So as soon as it would get people's, personal information and their crypto wallets, obviously the draining would then occur. And this draining would drain individuals out of their fucking money. So if you were somebody that had your cryptocurrency wallet stored onto your system, and here's the thing. I'm not going to sit here and say, and be Professor or Captain Hindsight. Look, at the end of the day, I'm a paranoid fuck, and I just use virtual machines and hardened systems all day, every day. So I really don't worry about it. I could have ran this malware in this game and just laughed it off. But for an individual who is on stream and they were told by, just the chat, hey, download this game and play it. Most people don't have that understanding. Most people don't know what's going on. There was another streamer as well. A streamer that I believe is known as Heiny88. Now, Heiny88 actually apparently downloaded this game. She ran it, and even she realized, okay, things don't really make sense over here, but it was too late. Once she ran the game, which also launched the bat file, which launched those VBS scripts, all of this was done, and it was too little too late. Okay, social media accounts are fucked, crypto accounts are starting to get drained. It's pretty much something that is basically irreversible, especially when it comes to things like cryptocurrency. The most we can do is look into cryptocurrency transactions and start tagging money transactions and saying this batch of crypto is that. Which, if you've ever been to Etherscan or any crypto scanning service, anytime a heist happens, usually the actual wallet address that performs the heist gets tagged as criminal or fraudulent. And that means any money, people look at that stuff like a hawk. So that's like maybe the only saving grace. But once the money is gone, the money is gone, okay? There's not much you can do in the world of decentralized finance to get your shit back. So there was a couple things that came out of this story that immediately raised my attention. As I was flying back yesterday, apparently it seems like the guy who apparently was behind this hack, the mastermind, had actually gotten exposed. Now, I want to just shout out the guys over at International Cyber Digest and, of course, VX Underground. Smelly, awesome fucking dude, really great guy. And they went through the efforts of
if you do it carefully, you can.
And identifying who this person was. So the way that this happened was a bunch of nerds, a bunch of OSINT nerds, okay, people whose, fucking background it is to look up the tiny username that you have and run it through God knows how many different scripts, how many different search engines to build a profile of people based on a nugget of information on the internet. Now, a lot of these scammers and hackers don't really have what I would like to call good compartmentalization. which sometimes what will happen is, let's say you have an email somewhere and you're really careful on site A, but on site B you're giving off like all the information that could be used to fucking identify you. People will Google on the internet to find anytime that email is used, and they'll find it on site A, B, C, D, E, and F. And using that information, they'll do that to build a profile. It's actually pretty similar to back in the day when I worked with CoffeeZilla on something known as Roulette. When we investigated that, we literally were operating with screen names and eventually worked our way to actually talking to the people who were behind this website, okay? People that didn't want to be identified, and obviously they went through great lengths to be very anonymous, but you can't, if you're not careful from the beginning, it can really bite you on the ass. So basically, like most scammers, they operated on a service known as Telegram. Now the thing is, ultimately, these people had Telegram IDs. And once you have somebody's Telegram ID, you can go to public-facing chat rooms in Telegram and find similar IDs. So a lot of the OSINT guys took that ID that they found, one of them at least, and started to look through all of the public-facing records they could find. Okay. And eventually they came across posts that started to identify who this person was. So for instance, one of the scammers, and there's multiple people in the story, one of them was apparently on several other chat rooms trying to figure out how to do fraudulent work, to the point where apparently they were hiring somebody to do basic 2D game development. Now, here's the thing about all of this shit, right? Okay. In another chat room, they were apparently sharing photos of themselves with expensive vehicles, and eventually they had a link tree that they found, which basically gave you everything you needed to know. Things like YouTube channels,
I don't have a PS5.
Twitter, a lot of things that started to disappear overnight. Now, of course, I can't confirm if the guy that is being talked about, we'll call him Lopez, because that's the name being shared around on most of the news sites. Okay. I can't 100% verify this because I haven't 100% checked it for myself. But wearing what appears to be Rolly watches, and of course drinking Dom Perignon, which is a pretty expensive bottle of champagne, you can see that, yes, stealing money from cancer patients doesn't really register in the level of ethical, like, morality that most people tend to have. Now, of course, I can't 1,000,000% confirm this guy, so I'm not going to 100% back this sort of claim. But ultimately, there has been other things talked about, like apparently ICE was reported, like this guy was reported to ICE. They jumped in and arrested him, which is totally false. There's no confirmation of that. Okay, this is a wild week for alleged criminals. Okay, we've got problems in the LAPD when it comes to guys like David, and of course with people behind this, it's only a matter of time before you do actually end up getting caught. But again, I don't really know what the whole laws are around arresting people in crypto scams. It really feels like people who do crypto scams, even if you know exactly who they are, rarely get the fucking penalty dropped onto them. It's really just a public shame fest that usually you get the best out of all these situations. That's the furthest these things tend to go. So look, at the end of the day, with this one Steam game that they dropped with hundreds of downloads, right? And again, 5,100 downloads, not terribly bad. In the last 7 days, they were just basically going to Kick Chats or Telegrams and telling people to download this stuff. Places where people usually have their crypto wallets attached to browsers on their system. Now, I would wager that a lot of these crypto bros probably don't practice good computer hygiene, so the ability for this highly specialized phishing attack probably did yield, and did actually seem to yield pretty good results.
Well, I don't have a PS5.
And look, ultimately, at the end of the day, this is the reason why I don't ever fucking do anything like crypto related on my channel, just because the community is so morally fucking bankrupt. I think most of the time anybody's ever offered me a crypto deal or promoted Web3 to me, there's never been a point, aside from even just this story with dollar cancer, where obviously the money I guess is being raised for somebody that had a pretty serious illness. But generally, in 99.9% of the cases, I feel that crypto is just such a degenerate area to get into. And stories like this make me feel that as a technology, it once was kind of promising. And maybe it does have the use cases. Obviously, I think with stuff like Monero, the anonymity kind of helps. That's, decentralized finance is kind of cool to look at, okay? But in practice, looking at the players in the game and just constantly reading story after story of all these scams, it just is such a blackpilling experience on all of this shit. So yeah, TLDR, there's a piece of malware that gets dropped on Steam. The malware drains people's crypto wallets, and it turns out, because it was vibe coded, it seemed. And look, the thing about this stuff is, before I end it, is the world of malware, And the world of, again, these scammers has gotten so easy thanks to things like AIs and LLMs. Like, you can code together, software underneath, big AI like LLM tools like ChatGPT.
Alright, we're done with that one. Alright, let's go see the video here. This one? The first one? What is this? What the hell? Damn, the AI inserted himself in there. This is so dumb. Yep. Wait, who is this dude? Who is that dude? But yeah, that is hilarious. Wait, what's this other one? What is this? Is this just the trailer? Oh, it is. Never mind, that is just the trailer. Okay. It looks like the way. Do you know the way? Okay, does he know the way? I guess he found the way. Whatever. Okay. There's these two things here. And then do we do this one? Oh wait. Okay, it's the way, okay. Yeah, I don't really pay attention to a lot of those things. Alright, let me try the thing again. We technically got our improvement with an extra weak point here. So you might as well give it another shot. Alright. Okay, that's good. Wait, no, it's under here. Yeah, time for Fizz suffering again. Let's give it a go. Alright, time for Fizz suffering. What end? It's an MMO. There is no end. There is no end. It's still going. Yeah. Alright, we have everything. Just double checking. Yeah, I have my drugs. And then I got my food. I got my sequential serum. Oh, nice. You don't finish it. It's still going. We're doing a little bit more damage today. You don't. Don't worry about microphone. That is so close. I think I can still do it. I double checked to make sure I'm a food buff, right? I do. That's good that you're doing good. Oh shit, I accidentally jump canceled the skill. Because it went too quickly. Fucking hell. I hate how like Acer also has like those stupid like delays with their animations there too. It's pain. Oh well. It is what it is. Right. It is what it is. Not like there's anything else to do now, though. Yeah, we're done with this stuff here. Right, we're done with this stuff here anyways. We can try it again tomorrow. Or later, whatever. I mean, tomorrow I can get, like... I can get this to plus 13 tomorrow. We can get this to plus 13. And get an extra 1% elemental damage and 1% attack. I can get that up, tomorrow. Because I can just spend my keys. And then, you know, do the final trial. And get this up. So we can just do that tomorrow then. How many of the, things do I have? Okay, I have 6,000 data sources, okay. But yeah, we'll just do it tomorrow then. Let's finish the reacts. Let's just finish the react backlog. What's this Tylenol autism? The fuck? What the hell is this about?
Autism, ladies and gentlemen, how's it going? That's the topic for today's video. Oh, almost dropped my phone on me. That would have not been good. Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to kind of talk a little bit about Tylenol and autism because for the last day, I couldn't stop hearing about it. Now, before we go into this video, I need to just say this, okay? I am not a doctor, okay? I'm not a medical professional. So if you want to know anything about autism or Tylenol or the intricacies of it, go to a doctor, okay? Get information from a doctor. I'm here to make jokes and have some laughs. And you know what? Honestly, the last few days, I've been having nothing but laughs. I feel like we really live in, like, what I'm going to dub as the Roaring 20s. Again! Pondo! Electric Boogaloo! You know, when I was in California, like, the other day, I saw Homeland Security post this.
Wait, I'm gonna change the category to just chatting. Might as well. Or no, we'll just leave it there. Fuck it.
This shit. You know, ladies and gentlemen, this is gonna blow your mind. So there was a video that was posted of
oh nice, have fun with your the cosplay stuff. The cosplay event.
Department of Homeland
That's
Security.
Cool.
And this is like Homeland Security rating like pretty much like, you know, places they suspect illegals to be at. Now, it wasn't just this alone. Obviously, you go down the road, and this is just where it gets even wilder. Not only were they challenging Nintendo's legal teams.
Oh boy.
They were making Pokemon cards, dude. Here's an illegal 1 HP pedophilia. That's their crime. God damn. We can. This is an ice type. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, you just can't take it seriously. I was having this discussion with my dad. I'm like, Dad, you know, when I was a kid, he was just watching like Anderson Cooper and all this boring shit. He didn't have the luxuries of seeing his childhood like shit be used inside actual verifiable government posts. But anyways, this is not about troubling Nintendo lawsuits potentially. Nintendo's not going to sue the federal government, okay? They're not going to take that risk.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that came out, you know, yesterday was apparently there was a fact evidence suggests link between acetaminophen and autism. So acetaminophen, for anybody that doesn't
Okay.
know, is basically Tylenol, okay? You know, a little red bottle you get, you know, you got a little headache, you take a little pill of Tylenol, some over-the-counter shit. Well, apparently, that administration does not believe popping more pills is always the answer for better health. To an
Okay.
extent, I also kind of agree with that too. There is mounting evidence finding a connection between acetaminophen use during pregnancy and autism. So before you guys are wondering, whoa, can I get a little bit of that autism with some pills right now? No,
Oh, boy.
your mom has to take it while she's pregnant, okay? So if you're born right now, you've missed the train. Now, I
Okay.
don't consider autism to be something scary or spooky. You know, a lot of people will kind of say, oh, it's like an illness or a disease, and I frankly think that's offensive. You know, I think everybody can have a little bit of autism. I think it is just a spectrum. Autism, for anybody that doesn't know, is I believe, social disorder where, you know, people have difficulties understanding certain cues, certain social understandings. And again, it is a spectrum, so people can have a very light touch of the autism. And then, of course, you have people that have extremely severe autism, which can absolutely impact their life negatively, right? Now, obviously, look, I'm not here to say it's gross or disgusting or that we should 100% get rid of it. I think, obviously, at the end of the day, if you can take away some of the things that affect the day-to-day life, especially, you know, for a kid, anybody, any human being, I think, you know, it's good, right? Do I equate autism to something like Alzheimer's or something like, you know, Huntington's disease or AIDS or something? Absolutely not. To me, autism is just a possible, you know, it's a diagnosis that comes in, and, you know, people can have a very light touch of it, a very severe touch of it. Again, I'm not a doctor. I just look at these things from just a general human perspective. So again, going down over here, the president has joined the administration officials to announce major progress in understanding the root causes of autism, which I guess supersedes every other medical condition. Like I said earlier, just a few seconds ago, we've got pretty serious medical problems in the world to focus on, right? We've got various cancers that are taking people's lives. We've got, again, Alzheimer's disease. We've got, you know, crazy diseases that we need to find cures to. And somehow it's like, whoa, let's put autism above all of it. So anyways, this apparently exploded in diagnoses over the past 2 decades. And again, I believe the rate of diagnoses also correspond with tons of other sub-diagnoses being thrown into this as well. But anyways, they do actually link some evidence, right? And they link evidence from Harvard, they link evidence from various universities like Johns Hopkins, Mount Sinai. So again, it's always funny whenever like any of these sites throw their like, you know, credentials out there. It's like, I remember when I was talking about Harvard probably like a month ago, they were like, how could you believe that wokey university? And now it's like, well, now it's a smart, now they're smart. Again, you gotta have some real critical thinking. Anyways, these are actual studies that you can read and they're provided and you can understand yourself. Now look, I ain't a fucking expert, okay? I'm not. So I'm just gonna believe what the experts have to say. Now, you might be like, whoa, Mudo, what's Tylenol's response to this? They were like, cute diversion, now release the files. Misinformation, by the way, okay? That was just a joke. Obviously, you know, the world ain't that based yet for Tylenol to have that crazy of a response. No, the actual response was a little bit more boring. So I'm going to read you their official, like, actual response here real quick. So this is, like, from Tylenol's boring website over at their safety and dosing FAQs. Should I be concerned about Tylenol and autism?
Yeah, why would... Like,
goddamn, big ass words. We understand the recent media coverage you're reading may cause concern or lead to questions. So they say credible, independent scientific data continues to show no proven link between taking acetaminophen and autism. So here they also provide their own studies. The Autism Science Foundation, the American Academy of Pediatrics. We've got nerd on nerd action going on.
Damn.
And then they say one thing that the White House doesn't say. Our best advice, talk to your healthcare professional.
Exactly.
As our label says, if pregnant or breastfeeding, talk to your healthcare professional before use. And I think that's the best advice anybody can provide. Obviously, a lot of people have been digging up crazy old...
Right, whenever, like, something's wrong, just go see a doctor first, talk to them. They'll tell you what you should do. Right? But like, yeah, apparently people can't follow those instructions. I wonder when someone will make a study linking dihydrogen monoxide with autism. Yeah, I mean, you can fool people into thinking their water has been poisoned because it contains dihydrogen monoxide, which is just water. Would be funny though.
Old tweets from Tylenol like, we actually don't recommend using any of
Damn.
our products while pregnant. Thank you for taking the time to voice your concern today. And this isn't the gotcha that some people think it is. Bro, anybody is going to say that. Any company is going to say. It's almost like some people have not read any of the boilerplate warnings that are written on the side of anything. Usually on the side of any box, you'll find things like drug facts, if pregnant or breastfeeding, because yes, if your child is sucking milk out of your titties, and the night before you were on a drinking bender, you do have to pump out your milk before you get, again, I feel like...
I mean, like, you shouldn't be drinking in the first place if you're in that situation.
You don't have to be a doctor to understand this shit, okay? Anytime any box says, ask a healthcare professional before use, it's because you're supposed to do that. Your doctor knows your body, okay? They've done tests on you. Generally, even the same drug can have a different reaction depending on who the fucking person is.
Exactly.
Do I live in clown world that this isn't common
We all
understanding?
do, yes.
What happened? What kind of fucking brain parasite has attacked? What kind of social media use has attacked everyone to not have basic fucking common understanding? Like, I'm pretty sure there's gonna be a comment in the bottom of this video right here. Oh, Muda, what the fuck would you know? You're not a fucking doctor. Bro, the people who are making this claim are not doctors either, okay?
They're telling you to ask a doctor.
This claim, this sort of stuff comes from the health secretary, who is Robert F. Kennedy right now. Now, not to disregard RFK Jr., but, you know, he's an American politician. He's a lawyer. He's an author, a conspiracy theorist, and an anti-vaccine activist. Okay, now this could be coming from Wikipedia, but nowhere here is he actually a doctor, okay? The guy is, I would understand, a pretty prominent lawyer. And to be fair, he's a pretty fit fucking guy from my understanding. He looks good for his age. And to give you an idea, he's got some medical issues that he's had. I think he had a parasite that ate like parts of his fucking brain. I think that he's a guy that, you know, genuinely actually does probably have really good intentions, okay, about the health of the people. But because he's not a doctor, it kind of takes listening to him a little questionable, okay? If he was a doctor, maybe that would be one thing.
Take it with a grain of salt.
Now, of course, looking into RFK, even when it came to things like vaccine studies, apparently he demanded that these vaccine studies be retracted simply because apparently these Danish studies, by the way, found no link between aluminum and vaccines and chronic diseases in children. And it's just weird when,
wants
you
the
know, any
confirmation
kind of
bias. That
conflicting
is
information
weird.
comes out that you ask for things to be censured or retracted because it doesn't fit your worldview. You know, I don't know if it was like Ben Shapiro that said this, but it's like facts over feelings or some shit like that. It was like, you know, if the facts do not align with your beliefs, it's your beliefs that have to be the ones that change, right? Simple as that. You know, somebody tells me, Muda, the world is fucking flat, okay? And we know clearly the world is round. Okay, we don't have to change our beliefs for that person. We just have to understand that, you know, we have to contest that person in reality. And by the way, this comes off pretty hot off the heels of apparently Google also admitting that they were censoring users, you know, underneath that previous administration, the Biden one, right? So according to a press release...
I mean, the world is flat, but it's also round, you know? Like, think about it this way. It's made up of a lot of water, but that water is not carbonated in most of it. The vast majority of that water is not carbonated, therefore, the Earth is flat, while also being round in shape.
Google admitted to the House Judiciary that the Biden administration pressured Google to censor
There's a lot of water, but it's
content that did not
uncarbonated.
violate policies, which is fucked up, if true, okay? I don't believe it. I'm gonna die on the hill and say people should just have free speech and say whatever the fuck they want on the internet, as long as they fit within that site's TOS. And generally, this all related to things like political speech on COVID-19 and even the election misinformation stuff, which, here's the funny thing. So you already banned these people, killed their fucking platforms, and now you want them to come back. Look, at the end of the day, you shouldn't be banning anyone. You should just literally be allowing people to contest. The strong idea, the more logical idea, should be the one that wins towards the end. I never believe in things like censorship. I think anytime you censor somebody, it just pushes them to another platform and almost gives them legitimacy. But of course, you go down over here, they said that the administration censorship pressure was unacceptable and wrong. Why the fuck did you do it? Oh, again, because a lot of these tech companies or these multi-billion-dollar companies don't really give a shit about any of their ethics or beliefs or values as a company. Again, it's really just kissing the ass of whoever is fucking, at the top right now. Public debate should never come at the expense of relying authorities. The company will never use third-party fact-checkers. Europe's censorship laws target American companies and threaten American speech. Bro, these companies don't care. It's like when you read some like crazy Californian company and they always talk about, ooh, our values are this and whatnot, and they're taking like military contracts and doing the exact opposite of what they preach. Bro, this is just the world we live in, okay? It's fucked up. These companies don't really care. They're just always gonna kiss the ass of whoever's at the top. Bro, in 4 years, if things completely flip, they'll completely flip this stance too. It's crazy. But yeah, the only reason I went off onto that side tangent was because obviously when you go to the government, right? When you go to the actual like the White House page, they'll tell you the fake news went into a frenzied hyperventilation. I want, dude. You know what, I will say something right now. There has never been an administration more fucking jaw-dropping, like, meme-tacular and funny. Okay, these guys know how to take that social media game to the next level. They've made the act of reading a White House press release not boring, which is pretty fucking awesome, okay? All right, granted, we can all kind of sit in shock and awe anytime, like, a insane post comes out, but they've made it absolutely interesting for the entire world to watch. Now look, at the end of the day, I don't necessarily know if the Tylenol and the autism link is necessarily valid or not valid.
Okay.
What I have seen is there have been very conflicting information. So for instance, looking at Axios, when they talked about this, for instance, when they brought this situation up, some of the actual links that the White House used were also apparently disproven. So look, what's really kind of wild about this too is obviously looking at like Axios, for instance, which kind of read between the lines over here. You know, the bottom line for this came out for the fact that there isn't strong enough scientific evidence to show that this causes autism. And even the FDA, so again, this is the FDA saying it, okay, the Food and Drug Administration of the US, part of the current administration, even they said, look, evidence in recent years has suggested a correlation between the use of pregnancy and the subsequent diagnosis of conditions like autism and ADHD. It is important to note that while an association between acetaminophen and neurological conditions has been described in many studies, a causal relationship has not been established, and there are contrary studies in the scientific literature. It is also noted that acetaminophen is the only over-the-counter drug approved for use to treat fevers during pregnancy, and high fevers in pregnant women can pose a risk to their children, which is again the reason why you have to go to a doctor to even confirm that you should be taking this while you're pregnant, because there could be an adverse reaction specifically to your body that could not affect anybody else. And look, I'm not a doctor, but even that is just common enough knowledge for me to know. It's one of the reasons why everyone says talk to a healthcare professional before you do something to your body that could affect you and possibly other people, especially a pregnant fetus in your body. And look, at the end of the day, going into this entire situation, you know, people are kind of arguing and fighting over this. So even like RFK's like original groups, like the groups that he founded, such as the CHD, which is a Children's Health Defense, which is dubbed anti-vaccine by the guys over at Ars Technica, also got involved and started to retweet posts where they were saying, listen, you can't blame Tylenol, okay? So you have to go back to the vaccines. This was not caused by Tylenol. Yeah. And again, even when it came to Georgia Coalition for Vaccine Choice, in an unhinged Facebook post that I unfortunately can't pull up because I think it might be removed, we didn't wait 20 years for Bobby to finally speak and then get served Tylenol as an answer. And look, I'm not here to make a judgment call on somebody's beliefs or somebody as a person. You know, I don't know who the fuck RFK Jr. really is, but I have to assume that, you know, this guy probably does care about children, but he's also not a medical professional. He's not a healthcare professional. This is somebody that is kind of making claims that if, look, in a room, if there's like 100 doctors, And it seems like if like 90 of those doctors are saying one thing and the other 10 doctors are saying another thing, I'm probably going to side with the other 90 doctors in the situation that, you know, apparently have a consensus that, you know, their opinion is right. Look, at the end, herd mentality when it comes to these ideas tends to win. And look, I'm not going to jump and say the 10 other doctors are unqualified quacks or nut jobs. Those doctors know more about medicine and the human body than I will ever do in my entire life.
Okay.
But sometimes, as smart as you can be, you can always be wrong as well. That's something that anybody has to contend with, okay? It's called putting aside your fucking ego and accepting reality or fact in a situation. But to kind of whittle it all back into, right? This Tylenol autism story is kind of fucking insane. It's kind of, you know, the next big talk about point. And to be honest with you, I think a lot of this is just kind of diversion from like us talking about, you know, those Epstein files, a lot of other criticisms. But look, in the end, I think for the people that are kind of really inflamed by this, or those people that are, you know, expectant parents, right? Like, look, obviously people want the best for their kids. People want the best for their kids as they're brewing inside, you know, as they're cultivating, so to speak. And I'm sure this is going to be something that people are going to be questioning, especially if you're a pregnant woman and you don't want your child to have a problem down the road or a complication. Maybe you can avoid your Tylenol usage or something down the road. But again, just go to a fucking doctor. Ask the doctor.
Go to the doctor.
Okay, simple as that. And one thing I want to say, obviously, as the screen is blanked out for a second, is I want to just reiterate that, you know, autism is not like some really incredible, scary illness to have, right? There's almost a weird stigma that people are bringing up because of some of these comments. You know, I've met autistic children. I've met people with autism. They are nothing but amazing people. And, you know, the autism, it is what it is, right? It doesn't necessarily
you'll be charged $2,000 for a single visit, yeah.
Or it makes them, you know, worse at something or whatever. These are just people who live their life, and they're a little bit different, right? They're a little bit different than the normal, and that's not really bad at all. That's not bad. You know, it's not like this is somebody, you know, who has a serious life-threatening illness that, you know, truly legitimately impacts their life in a very meaningful manner, right? And obviously there are people that are severely autistic where, you know, things obviously are affected because of their condition. But in most cases, you know, people with autism, you know, they just are a little bit different. It is what it is. I don't think it's just this weird stigma that kind of gets made because of comments like this. And I feel like it might be worth saying, because I've been reading a lot of parents who are obviously a little bit pissed off that, you know, this just, you know, this focus on like kids with autism and it being this incredibly horrible thing is such a stark contrast to the actual reality that parents face, right? You know, you can still, you know, obviously you still love these children, and these children are still amazing. They're still just as, you know, some would say they're more awesome, right? It's weird, right? So I wanted to also bring the stigma into this as well, because it's one thing that I've seen brought up by parents who feel that, you know, unnecessarily people look at their kids in a more negative way, when really, you know, with proper love, attention, and, you know, just a different way of handling them, they live their life out, you know, amongst normal people, quote unquote, with no real issue. I will say, this administration has been probably one of the most entertaining things to watch, because it feels like every week something new just comes, okay? Something new just gets thrown at you. We haven't even gone through a year of this presidency, and I'll be real with you, every week has been fucking memorable, okay? Something new just comes up all the time. It's crazy shit to see. You know, it's crazy if I'm getting into the political side of things to an extent, dipping my toe there and talking about these things, because you just can't escape it. But I did want to talk about this because ultimately it was something that I felt had a lot of misinformation flying around, and I wanted to at least make a video where I could pull all of the relevant information and not necessarily chastise, you know, one side or the other. I mean, I'm definitely more biased towards the, I guess you could say, the wokey doctors, if you will, you know, who are saying that talk to a healthcare professional, okay? Talk to somebody, because I don't personally think that autism and Tylenol are fucking linked. But then again, I'm also not a doctor. And these guys have been using multiple universities and like groups as ammunition in their quest for whoever is right. And look, somewhere the truth lies, okay? Somewhere the truth is sitting there. And it's up to you to put in your due diligence and your effort, like I have, to try to understand what the truth is. Don't just listen to a press release. Don't just read a tweet. actually understand the material you're engaging with, so you can come to a more concise, more educated conclusion that beats 99.9% of the fucking arguments and shit that are roaming around in the world. You know, it kind of takes me back to, like, I think 4 or 5 years ago when I talked about, what was it, 5G, and, like, you know, the conspiracy theory surrounding it. You know, this is something that is a little bit more grounded than that, but it's still something that, again, you need to treat with some serious nature. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, this is me, moogold. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Just like if you dislike it.
Okay, on to the next one. Alright, we're almost done with these. Alright, because we didn't do them yesterday. At least we're getting them done today. Deus Ex Remastered, what happened?
This is Deus Ex Remastered. You know, ladies and
Okay, what'd they
gentlemen,
do?
there was a state of play yesterday. I'm going to rip the Band-Aid off. I think most state of plays or Nintendo Directs or Xbox, or whatever the heck they call them,
Yep.
most of these are a nothing ever happened scenario, okay?
Exactly.
You know, for me, the older I get, the less I'm interested with, like, E3 nonsense. But
Yep.
sometimes something so outlandish comes that I gotta make a video about it, okay? I really do. Now, this is Deus Ex, okay? Now, Deus Ex, it's a game that I very much hold near to my heart, okay? It's a game
Kira.
that every time
Welcome.
somebody mentions it, you must reinstall it. You know why? Because it's
Okay.
one of the best immersive sims. It's one of the best
happened with Deus Ex?
conspiracy-laden games out there. You want to play a video game that makes you think about class wars and conspiratorial nut jobbery? It is this game, okay? Not only is it conspiracy focused, it's just a good game, okay? It's not only a good game, but it's also a really old game. Now, we live in the day where games just keep getting remastered. But what if I showed you a remaster that is so dog shit that,
Okay,
how did it get approved? So anyways, yesterday at State of Play, Deus Ex Remastered got announced
Yep.
for the PlayStation 5, okay? Now we've seen a lot of impressive visuals with the PS5, okay? And for a game, when did Deus Ex release? For a game that released June 22nd, 2000, you would think that around 26 years later, 25 to 26 years later, they might just rebuild the fucker from ground up.
Okay, but
Can
they
it be
do the
better
remaster.
than a modding team? Well, let's actually watch the trailer. So here's the PlayStation starting. You've got the original visuals. Oh man, that's the remaster, boys.
That is super rough.
Yeah.
What a remaster. They barely changed anything.
We upgraded the visuals, Scotty, from 2000 to 2005. A legend returns. Yeah, I'm not gonna joke here, man. I mean, this looks rough. You could take a
Yeah.
screenshot of this and go to r/gamedev and be like, "Hey guys, my first attempt at a level. Can somebody give me any recommendations?" And they all would fall for it. I mean, this is a
Yeah.
2026 era remake. I mean, look at the grass over. Look at the graphics. Look at the grass. It looks like dog shit. Look at the tiling. How's he holding his gun? Is JC loading hood.exe? Anyways, the further we go into it, you know, Liberty Island has never looked so sloppy. You got VersaLife. You've got, again, the obscene shine. So
MTS
here they show
world.
the actual comparisons, and you know, here you got Paul. Okay, Paul's looking at you. You know, all 2000 like. Now he looks like a Doom 3 mod, dude. You can't make this up. This looks like a Doom 3 mod.
Yeah.
That they are now selling you, okay? Now again, before we go into this, I know for people who are like, you know, we haven't gotten anything Deus Ex, we really haven't gotten anything Deus Ex related since Mankind Divided. Ever since Embracer Group, you know, took this IP
Yeah.
and basically threw it into fucking cold storage. What's shocking to me is that now they've tried to resurrect this and release this remake, but the remake
Yeah.
is so dog shit looking that obviously I don't recommend anybody buy this, okay? There's better options. You know, if you want to play this game, I swear to God, they are selling it right now for 35 Canadian dollars. And you might be like, that's not bad. That's not
Bruh.
bad at all. Look at the screenshots, brother. Look at the screenshots here. Look at this. It looks like ass. It looks like somebody's first attempt at a Unity project. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm looking at the before and after. Dog, the before looks better than the after. I'm
Yep.
sorry to say. All right, you know, you go down, look at this, look at the amount of sheen that's going on. It is absolutely, it almost feels like I'm looking at something AI upscaled, okay? Of course, looking at even
Yeah, it
the
looks like a
user
2007
interface, like
mod.
even this, you know, I don't want to go into the soul versus soulless debate, but even the user interface looks like ass, okay? I mean, what is this? What is any of this, man? Look at this, is a scene where you're supposed to free Gunther, and they lit it up like a fucking Christmas tree, okay? They lit it up like a Dutch brothel, Sam. What are we doing here?
What
What's
are
going
we
on?
doing in Dad?
And of course, nothing hurts me harder than this first scene right over here. Okay, this is the before, and somehow the after just. I mean, God. I mean,
That is
God damn! His fingers
quite the
are
after.
fusing into the coat. This is a screenshot. By the way, you gotta make these screenshots, okay? You gotta fucking edit them together. You gotta use the line in the middle to separate your comparisons. You know, cut the poo in half. Then you have to upload this shit. They felt proud of this enough to put it into the Steam screenshots, and that is why I'm making fun of it. Guys, it's a $35 remake, okay? By Aspire. You should never aspire to purchase
Yep,
this.
you
Let me tell
shouldn't.
you the cheaper way of getting this, okay? Go to Steam, look up Deus Ex, or in fact, if you can go to GOG, do that instead. Go buy, I'm not joking with you, Deus Ex the original, which is right here, Game of the Year, $1.25 Canadian. That is converted to less than $1 for you Americans out there, okay?
Yep.
Less than $1 you can buy the original game. And then there's a mod called Deus Ex Revision, which is free, okay? Free, meaning you can download this for free. And it comes with all the like AI enhanced or like just enhanced, like it's a community mod, a community made mod that has made like visual upgrades. And you can disable all of the level changes and modifications. So you can play that original vanilla Deus Ex experience without paying $35 fucking for the worst remaster that I've ever seen. And it kind of hurts because, you know, they're doing this to revive like any interest. It's like, ooh, could we make another day? Could we finally finish this Adam Jensen trilogy we left on hold for 8 years? And if nobody buys this, well, you know, obviously corporate gaming world overlords will look at this and be like, well, clearly no one's interested. Dog, no one's interested, okay, because you just released dog shit. I mean, let's go further into this trailer, okay? You've got more of these, like, lighting changes. You know, there's some reflection work going on.
Okay.
You've got Walter White over here, okay? He survived. He survived the ending of Breaking Bad. He's working in Majestic 12, okay? I mean, dude, you can't make this up. The AI looks like it's the exact same artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
This is one of those games where they should have done, I'm not joking with you, like a System Shock ass, you know, full remake. You know, because it's just so old. You know, it's like System Shock 2 old. But they ended up farming this dog shit out to Aspire, which again, they literally could have picked any other studio. They could have went to Night Dive, okay? They just released System Shock 2 Enhanced Edition, which brought back some
Okay.
real classic old features, I believe, like multiplayer. They really actually put together a proper remaster. And it didn't have to look bad. You know, it just took the original style and kind of like, and kind of just made it work better on modern systems. That's it. And look, to look at more of the actual like footage over here, again, when they're showing it at State of Play, literally everything is functionally the same in this game, except for, again, the upscaling work done onto this game. And look, this scene hits hard, okay? All of a sudden, you have this weirdly lit scene with the worst character models that I've actually ever seen upgraded. They probably should have just kept the original character models. Everything looks so unnecessarily bright. Hold on, I'm getting the call from Sony.
Really?
New features for the PlayStation
So they have a mod
5.
where he's just running?
Overhauled controls, enhanced. You know, I hate the use of the word enhanced.
That's actually
visuals.
kinda cool.
That shit should be liable for a lawsuit. This is not enhanced. Okay, this looks like ass. All right, even it's funny. Look at the explosion. They didn't even modify the graphics for the explosion. The explosion alphas look the same, bro.
Damn.
It's like taking Metal Gear Solid 1 and fucking ruining it, dude. Jesus Jesus
I
Christ.
kind of want to see that mod though.
When
We'll
I
look it
saw
up
this,
after.
I swear to God, nobody was more excited. I was like, oh my God, I get to play Deus Ex again with like super upgraded visuals.
And they barely did
I saw the
anything.
developer aspire, and then I just saw the trailer, and I'm like,
They're
it's
aspiring
fucking
to
Jover.
be
You know, it's crazy
dog
to think
shit.
that, like, when I look at what happened with this remake, you know, there's something known as the Deus Ex Echelon renderer, which is something they build off of something known as RTX Remix, which is NVIDIA's free tools for anybody to remaster, like DX8.
Yeah.
DX7, maybe DX9 era video games, so you can inject path tracing, AI upscaling, all of that shit to it. And in some cases, you know, people have taken games like Need for Speed Underground 2 and made pretty interesting remasters of them. You know, you can download this render and kind of get an experience for what this dog shit remaster is gonna do. I mean, functionally speaking, what the community put together with free tools doesn't actually look all that different to whatever they're releasing on the PlayStation 5. I mean, I'll tell you one thing right now. Up to this point, probably the worst set of remasters I've probably seen have been like, you know, the Grand Theft Auto trilogy, which, you know, art direction was a bit different. A lot of bugs were present, but at least I could tell that they kind of tried to modernize and make the game, you know, sort of playable for newer for a newer audience, right? Like, for a lot of people that couldn't deal with the intricacies of old school San Andreas, I'm not against you just firing up the definitive edition and playing through San Andreas with checkpoints and God knows what else. And now it's, I would say, decently patched. It's not perfect, but it's definitely better than day one. You know, we had Master Collection for Metal Gear Solid, which had a near and dear place to my heart, but even then, that remaster, it was mostly just, why not emulate the entire game and call it a day? Because it's basically what we got, substandard emulation. But at least, you know, you got the game on a one-disc package that you can share with your friends or play by yourself just for convenience sake, okay? You know, it's like throwing a fucking frozen burger in a microwave and calling it a day. This, on the other hand, you're gonna charge me $35 when I can get the original for less than the price of a fucking Tim Hortons copy? Mod it for free within a minute, run that shit on my Steam Deck with a 7-hour battery life, enough to speed run through the entire game on one charge, and you're gonna try selling that to me? I want you to understand, these guys want you to spend $35 on a game where they couldn't even take the texture work and align it properly. I mean, this is not how buttons are supposed to be placed. This is the level of quality we're expecting from the guys and gals
crazy.
over at Aspire. And if you
They're
think
aspiring to
that
be
this
dog
should be
shit.
like, here's
That's
the thing,
why.
as a Deus Ex fan, you might as well not even fucking remake the game. Because I'll tell you something, if the sales are not good for this, and they probably may not be, okay, because let's be real, Deus Ex is the most popping franchise, and this isn't visually impressive enough. Like, if the normies are looking at this and having a giggle, the real fans are also having a pretty huge giggle and a facepalm as well. And if this doesn't sell, then immediately, I guarantee you, the next phrase is going to be, oh, well, nobody cares about Deus Ex. No, bro, it's because you're releasing fecal matter for us to buy, man. Come on. You're gonna try selling that to the people, you know, who you want to bring into Deus Ex. It would have been so sick. You know, I've always thought, man, maybe remake the original Deus Ex. Even a remastering of this game. They could have absolutely modernized it a little bit with some of the stuff from the Adam Jensen trilogy, okay? Some of those creature comforts that would have easily made the game better, okay? Hell, if you replace just a hacking minigame in the original, which was click a button, jerk off in a corner somewhere, with the one from the Adam Jensen trilogy where you're actually doing like this puzzle, that would have been awesome, okay? Alright? Having a cover system would have been awesome. Having an actual upgrade would have been awesome. No, for this price, you're better off buying other old remakes or remasters, games like System Shock 2 Remaster or System Shock 1 Remake, which is far more effort put into this project than anything I'm seeing Aspire doing. It's such a shame that they didn't even hit a Blue Point, or they didn't even hit up like, Night Dive Studios. Instead, they hit up the one slot-producing studio that literally is going to put Deus Ex into a dormant hibernation for the next 2 decades. Ladies and gentlemen, this is me, Mutahar, and I feel like I'm yelling on behalf of all people that love Deus Ex. This is dog shit, and we should be calling it out as dog shit. Do not buy this, just buy the one for $1, okay? Literally, 95% cheaper than whatever this shit is. I am out.
But yeah, that's just crazy how that's the thing there. Okay. What is this? This what? Nope, nothing there. But there we go. We already saw that. What is this one? 26 minutes long. What is
Once
this?
upon a time, in a communist country far away, there was a heavy bomber aviation regiment. During
Okay.
World War II, the regiment proved itself worthy in multiple combat operations, in particular long-range bombing raids against Berlin, Königsberg, and
Stuff
Danzig.
about
It
bombing
was
raids.
also the regiment
Okay.
which in 1942, amid the war in Europe, managed to safely deliver one of the top Soviet leaders to Great Britain and then to the USA. But is that what the regiment is remembered for? No. After World War II, the regiment became the first aviation unit in the USSR to receive the Soviets' most up-to-date bomber at the time, the Tupolev Tu-4. And it was this regiment that was regularly invited to fly their Tu-4s during grand air parades over Red Square, showcasing the aerial might of the Soviet Union. But is that what the regiment is remembered for? No. In the mid-50s, the regiment became the first in the Soviet Air Force to be armed with the most advanced jet bomber, the Tupolev Tu-16, and a few years later it was the first Soviet supersonic bomber, the Tupolev Tu-22. In 1965, the regiment conducted the first in the USSR bombardment while at supersonic speed. But is that what the regiment is remembered for? No. But you screw up
Okay.
just once, and in the case of the regiment a few times and always epically, and you're remembered for that forever. The very moment the regiment got involved in an investigation regarding its crews exchanging the alcohol drained from their bombers for crystal tableware from a nearby factory, the unit instantly earned the nickname the Crystal Regiment. Not for long though, because right after one of the regiment's Tu-22s while on landing approach collided with a train carrying frozen chickens, the unit immediately became known across the entire Soviet Air Force as the Chicken Regiment. It may seem that nothing could beat this nickname, but the very moment one of the regiment's bombers due to a ridiculous navigation error flew to Iran instead of Belarus, the regiment forever went down in history as the Teheransky Regiment. This is the
Okay.
tale of the 203rd Heavy Bomber Regiment and its legendary Mirror Flight. In March 1983, the Soviet Air Force initiated a large-scale military exercise known as Strike 83. Its objective was to plan and simulate combat operations to defeat the enemy's aviation and aircraft carrier groups while simultaneously redeploying bomber regiments to different theaters of war. The scale and significance of the exercise could have been seen from the fact that the overall command was carried out by the Deputy Chief Commander of the Soviet Air Force, Marshal Alexander Yefimov. The exercise involved 7 heavy bomber regiments, including the 203rd Regiment, which was a part of the 22nd Air Division commanded by General Gennady Nesterov. On the 23rd of March, as per exercise task, the regiment's bombers took off from Baranovichy, successfully destroyed a simulated enemy airbase, and landed at the Mozdok airfield in the Caucasus region. The mission was flawlessly executed, earning the regiment an excellent rating. But it wasn't the end of the exercise, since Marshal Yefimov, who was still in Baranovichy, announced that the enemy aircraft carrier group had suddenly been discovered and must be destroyed as soon as possible. To destroy the enemy aircraft carrier, which according to the brief was found in the Caspian Sea, General Nesterov developed a nighttime strike operation and promptly briefed Marshal Yefimov and his team of exercise inspectors on the details of his plan. The Marshal approved the plan without any comment. However, then he decided to personally evaluate the execution of the task by the 203rd Regiment, so he and his team boarded a plane and headed to Mozdok, which arguably started the chain of unusual events. It's hard to say for sure, but it's possible that the Marshal's departure put General Nesterov in an awkward position,
Yeah, I have
since
no
it could
idea.
have appeared that the Marshal
They
cared about
just did,
Nesterov's regiment
somehow.
and successful plan execution more than General Nesterov cared about it himself. And thus, General Nesterov urgently gathered his own team, boarded the Antonov An-12, and also headed to Mozdok. In the Soviet army, the arrival of high-ranking officers always brought unnecessary pressure on the military personnel. On top of that, such arrivals almost always initiated the, let's call it the Russian army phenomena known as ИБД, which stands for Имитация бурной деятельности, or the imitation of restless activity in English. To put it simply, in the presence of Soviet superiors, no one could be idle even for a second. And if it happened that you couldn't find anything to do, you had to pretend you were busy and make it look extremely significant, even if it was just tightening a knot. There was no exception in the case of the 203rd Regiment either, other than the fact that there was not one but 2 teams of high-ranking officers arriving to evaluate them at the very same time, and one of those teams was also in the active ИБД state, since General Nesterov and his team were also eager to demonstrate that they were actively involved in the process of command, or whatever that could be at any given moment. Neither was
They
Major
tightened the
Mikhail
nut
Chizhov an
way
exception.
too large,
He was
yeah.
one of the 203rd Regiment's pilots and also a squadron's Zampalit, or in other words, the political
Yep,
officer.
of
which meant
course,
that
X
instead
for
of having some rest
pending.
before the difficult night flight, he had to write various political reports, aka the essential role of the Communist Party in the successful completion of their previous flight mission. As one of Chizhov's crew members, Vyacheslav Merzlikhin, later recalled, the situation in the briefing room was also a bit tense. First of all, due to the presence of multiple inspectors, but also because of uncertainty about the takeoff direction. The thing is that it is much easier to take off against the wind, especially in the case of heavily loaded bombers. But the wind that night was constantly changing and weather control couldn't give a definitive forecast. Unable to wait any longer, the regiment commander decided to take off in a westerly direction. This was noted by the crews in their flight plans, and they then left the briefing room for their planes. However, as they took their places in the bombers, another command was sent over the radio saying that the takeoff direction had changed to the opposition direction, to the east, and thus all navigators must update their navigation systems accordingly. And here it's worth mentioning one very important thing about the ToFLive Tu-22, its special navigation system called orthodromic. It's a bit complex, but to simplify it for the sake of the video, when using this system you could designate any point on Earth as a nominal North Pole. Usually this point was the location of the target. Next you connected this point and the takeoff location was a straight line, creating the so-called orthodrome. If you flew along this line, the orthodromic course would always be 0 degrees. Based on this line, the navigator then calculated the headings for each particular point of the flight, as well as the landing and takeoff directions. The navigator also calculated the magnetic course, which together with other important information was then put on the flight map, and during the flight the navigator checked and compared the actual numbers from the instrument with those numbers on the flight plan. Inputting all this information into the system was the first thing that Tu-22 navigator had to do right after the ignition of the aircraft's engines. And that's what all the crews of the 203rd Regiment were doing after being notified of the new takeoff direction. All except the crew of Major Chizhov. As Mikhail Chizhov recalled, he hadn't heard the new command about the takeoff direction since he came running to the aircraft when his crew was already sitting in the cockpit. However, it's still unclear how come Chizhov's navigator also missed the new order. Maybe his radio was still off when the command was issued, maybe he didn't hear it due to the deafening sound of starting the engines, but whatever the reason might be, Major Chizhov took his place in the cockpit and started taxiing, not knowing that their navigation system was set with a 180-degree error. What worsened the situation was that according to the task, the exercise had to be completed in close to real-world conditions, and thus all crews had to remain radio silent right from the moment engines started on the ground and up until landing at their home base at Baranovich. Meanwhile, in the flight control room, the situation was far from normal as well. What happened was that, probably still in the Ibada state and in an attempt to impress Marshal Yefimov, General Nesterov decided to personally take control of the takeoff process. He dismissed Lieutenant Colonel
180
Karpov,
degrees
who was
off
in control of
down.
the regiment's takeoff, and took his place in the
Wrong
chair in front of the
direction,
radio
opposite
screen.
side.
The Tu-22 takeoff at night is
That's
quite a spectacle to watch.
really
The heavy,
Papega.
sleek machine quickly races down the runway, followed by a bright centimeter
Damn.
flame tail, and then swiftly rises into the air. And probably that's what the entire flight control team was doing back then, enjoying the beautiful spectacle of the night
At least
takeoff.
after this will be
Otherwise,
done
it's
with
hard
the
to explain
reacts.
why neither General Nesterov nor anyone else in the control room noticed that right after a takeoff, one of the bombers all of a sudden started to fly in the complete opposite direction. As Major Chizhov later recalled, he completed the takeoff process perfectly well and after checking all the systems, set the course for the first waypoint. Only then he realized that his wingman still hadn't taken position behind him. While searching the sky for his wingman and the other bombers of his group, it was already time for the next turn point, so he asked the navigator to check the course.
The orthodromic course on the map is 355, the magnetic course 295. Our actual orthodromic course is 355, the magnetic.
And here, as Chizhov recalled, the navigator hesitated for a moment. Chizhov thought maybe the navigator hadn't adjusted the lights in the cockpit and was having a hard time reading the compass and instruments. And indeed, in a moment, the navigator continued.
The course for the next waypoint is Oil Rocks is set correctly. Captain, a little to the right you should see the glowing light of Baku.
Chizhov looked ahead and indeed, against the dark background of the sea, he saw a peninsula the shape of a crescent bending to the right, as well as the lights of the city down below. As Chizhov recalled, he was a bit surprised that Baku, despite being the capital of one of the Soviet republics, looked so small, as if it was just an average-sized Soviet city. Of course, it wasn't Baku that he was observing at that moment. Here is what happened. Let's take a look at the 203rd Regiment flight plan, keeping in mind the orthodromic navigation system. I'm going to simplify things here just so you get the idea. If we set the location of the training target as a nominal North Pole, the bombers after takeoff should make a 145-degree turn to the left until their orthodromic course becomes 0 degrees, which they should then follow until reaching the target. That is if you take off in a westerly direction. However, if you take off to the east without having adjusted the navigation system, the 145-degree turn will send you in the completely opposite direction. Normally, even if such a mistake occurred,
opposite
the crew
direction
would
now?
notice it, simply because the actual locations you were flying by wouldn't match your flight plan. However, in this case, by amusing coincidence, the first major waypoint, the Absheron Peninsula with the city of Baku, had a very similar shape and was located at pretty much the same distance from the starting point of the flight as the Yeysk Peninsula with the town of Yeysk. With only one huge difference though. The peninsula was located not in the Caspian Sea, but in the opposite direction, the Sea of Azov. Being confident they had reached the Caspian Sea and following the flight plan precisely, Chizhov made a turn around the Yeysk Peninsula, located their exercise target, which appeared to be some random ship in the Sea of Azov, and performed a training missile launch. But the chain of coincidence didn't stop there.
Captain, do you see Makhachkala ahead?
Asked the navigator, referring to their next flight point, which was the town of Makhachkala, located on the coast of the Caspian Sea. Chizhov could indeed see the town on the coastline, however, it was not Makhachkala but Sochi on the Black Sea coast. As Mikhail Chizhov recalled later, these weird matches of the terrain, distances and towns with their flight plan put him completely at ease, and he fully relied on the navigator while checking only the orthodromic course himself. I know it's hard to believe this simply looking at the map, but just to remind you, it was 2 a.m. They were flying in complete darkness. Unbeknownst to them, their Tu-22 had already been detected and tracked by the Soviet air defense forces. In fact, the air defense had noticed them during their approach to Yeysk. The unidentified aircraft was unresponsive to radio requests, but its IFF system indicated that it was a friendly aircraft. Thus, the military decided it was a passenger plane, and they lashed out at the civilian air traffic controllers for not warning them about the change in the flight schedule. Meanwhile, the rogue plane all of a sudden turned left and started to fly over the Black Sea along the international route, quickly moving towards the Soviet border. Now the real alarm sounded, and at 2:53 a.m. the air defense urgently scrambled a pair of Sukhoi Su-15s from the Saidar airfield to intercept and shoot down the unknown aircraft that was trying to cross the state border. Despite the darkness, the interceptors managed to find the Tu-22 with their radar, and they probably would have shot the bomber down, but it wasn't the end of this amusing coincidence. It just so happened that it was exactly at that time when, according to the mission task, the Tu-22 weapons officer had to deploy
shoot it down
electronic countermeasures, which he successfully did, completely blinding the Su-15's radar so that they lost their target. Unbeknownst to Chizhov and his crew, they successfully evaded the real interception, and at 2:58 a.m., the Tu-22 crossed the Soviet border and entered the airspace of Iran. The further the Soviet Tu-22 went down into Iranian territory, the less and less confident became the navigator's voice and his reports.
Captain, ahead of us is Kursk,
said the navigator, referring to the huge cluster of lights ahead of them.
It's a training exercise,
and the closer they came, the more impressed he was with the size of the city, which was too big for a regional city like Kursk. But the strangest thing were the mountains. There are no mountains around Kursk, just plains. Something was wrong, but Chizhov couldn't understand what exactly. And he was right about his gut feeling, because the city they were approaching was not Kursk but Tehran, the capital of the Republic of Iran. It's worth saying here that intruding on someone's airspace is never a good idea, but in this particular case the timing couldn't be any worse, because it all happened right in the midst of the Iran-Iraq war, in which Iraq quite often used their Tu-22 bombers provided by the Soviets against Iran. Meanwhile, Major Chizhov asked Lieutenant Merzlikin to use the Comet, a special geolocation system that existed for the needs of Soviet long-range aviation. The system was quite simple. The aircraft sent a coded radiogram that was received by multiple radio receivers across the USSR, which then triangulated the source of the transmission and sent its coordinates back to the aircraft. It was far from precise, but even with a margin of 30-40 kilometers, it worked pretty well, especially in the Soviet Arctic with minimum landmarks. But the Comet was not responding. Not malfunctioning, but precisely not responding, because Merzlikin was getting confirmation that his radiograms were received, though no coordinates were sent in response. As they found out later, their radiograms indeed had been received, but the officer on duty, seeing that the signal was sent not from the Arctic but from Iran, decided it was just some sort of provocation and simply ignored their radiograms. Meanwhile, the navigator reported that their home base Baranovich was ahead and they should start their descent and landing approach. This was, by the way, the last time the navigator said anything on that flight. Chizhov responded that he was not landing until they could 100% confirm their location, so he started circling over the town, which of course wasn't Baranovich at all, but the Iranian town of Mashhad. Chizhov started thinking of where they might have mountains in the USSR. There were the Karelia Mountains, but they were far to the north. There were the Carpathian Mountains, which was plausible if they had veered from the course to the left. He knew the Stry Air Base was there, so he started calling them on the radio, but no one responded. There was no response from anyone. Everyone was silent. His navigator, Stry Air Base, the Comet, the other planes of his group, the Flight Control Center, everyone. And then something happened that was so frightening it made Chizhov, as he described it, doubt his own eyes and made his hair stand on end. He saw the sun slowly rising right ahead of them, which in no way could have happened if they were flying to the west. His navigator still remained silent, probably due to the shock of realizing his mistake. So what Chizhov did after seeing the sun was to turn his bomber straight to the north, hoping that way to get back to the USSR. They had been in the air for 3 hours already, and there was another problem. They were quickly running out of fuel. So Chizhov started to call for help on an open radio channel. His distress call was finally heard by an air traffic controller from the airbase Mary 2. Both Chizhov and Merzlikin knew nothing about this airbase and couldn't find any information in regards to Mary in their flight directory. They knew there was a possibility it was an enemy trying to guide them to their airfield, but they had little to no choice. They were now almost out of fuel, and Chizhov asked the air traffic controller to guide him to Mary for landing. Funny enough, 2 fighters were scrambled to
So
escort
you were
the bomber
flying
to the
west
airbase.
to see the
But
sun
since it was
rising? Well,
early
you know,
morning,
you
one of the
screwed
fighter
up.
pilots
Yep.
in a rush forgot
Very
to update his IFF
much
transponder
so.
to the new code for the day. So as Merzlikin later recalled, while they were making their landing approach at Mary, those 2 fighters were flying somewhere else behind them, chasing each other. It's worth noting that the landing wasn't just a simple regular thing here. Mary Airbase was made for smaller sized fighter bombers, so the runway was shorter and much narrower than those intended for heavy bombers. Nevertheless, Mikhail Chizhov, who hadn't enough fuel even for a second try, managed to land his bomber perfectly on the first attempt. But unfortunately, this was not the end of the ordeal for the Tu-22 crew.
Alright, got back in the USSR,
The
okay.
Soviet supersonic bomber with the new Ha-22 missile flying to Iran, of course, raised a huge disturbance in the Soviet Air Force, and a thorough investigation started pretty much right after the Chizhov's landing at Mary. It was determined that the main cause of the incident was an incorrect course set by the navigator, which had made the crew complete the flight in the opposite direction, as if it was a mirror reflection. It's still unclear why the navigator missed the radio command about the change of takeoff direction, but most importantly, why he ignored the numbers from the instruments. Most accounts tend to believe that Drozdetsky refused to doubt the orthodromic system, thinking that it was the magnetic compass showing incorrect information, and thus he provided the pilot with incorrect information throughout the flight. Speaking of the pilot, pretty much all accounts agree on Major Chizhov's exceptional piloting skills, which in particular made it possible to save the aircraft and the crew, but at the same time it's hard to ignore his blunt negligence in regard to the overall control of the flight and the navigator's work in particular. Had he just once checked the navigator's reports against the compass reading in his cockpit and the flight plan, he would probably have noticed right away that they were flying in the wrong direction. But he did. Neither is there a definitive explanation of why Iranian air defense didn't respond to the intruder. Sure, the Soviet bomber entered Iranian airspace while flying on an international flight route, but then it flew freely over Iran, including its capital, for more than 2 hours. Some accounts say that Iran actually did send their fighters, but they couldn't catch the Soviet bomber, which I found highly doubtful considering that Chizhov wasn't running away but simply circling over Mashhad. The most plausible version, if you ask me, is Merzlikin's explanation about the earthquake that happened in that region of Iran right at the time of the flight, which probably distracted the Iranian air defense from the unknown aircraft. According to records, the earthquake indeed happened in that region, and given the number of coincidences during this mirror flight, I don't doubt yet another coincidence either. As was typical for the USSR, even though the incident ended well with the crew and aircraft making it safe and sound, the repercussions were huge. Roughly 2,000 people in total were punished, downranked, or fired, mostly from the air defense forces who failed to intercept the escaping bomber. Most amusing, if this word can be used to refer to punishment, was the reprimand of Lieutenant Colonel Valery Karpov, the deputy commander of the 203rd Regiment, who was supposed to command the takeoff process in Mozdok, but was dismissed by General Nesterov. Surprisingly, his reprimand stated that it was not him who was dismissed, but that he removed General Nesterov from command. As Karpov said, he didn't even want to dispute this statement because now he was probably the only one in the entire Soviet Air Force who had such a nonsense reprimand. Unfortunately, the worst consequences of the mirror flight appear to fall on Major Mikhail Chizhov. As Mikhail Yartsev described in his book, suffering from never-ending investigations and fake accusations of defection or treason, Chizhov eventually decided to retire from the Air Force. However, this didn't help, as it seemed he took the incident too deeply to heart, and in less than a year he suddenly died from a heart attack, in a sad way proving the saying that the captain takes full responsibility for the deeds of his crew. In comparison to the tragic end of Major Chizhov, the life and career of First Lieutenant Drozdetsky, who was in fact the main culprit in the mirror flight, may seem to look like a Soviet success story. All accounts of his story without exception describe Drozdetsky as a poor skilled navigator who wasn't fit for service on the complex Tu-22 bomber. In fact, it was discovered later the regiment's chief navigator multiple times requested that Drozdetsky be transferred from work as a navigator to another position, but his request remained unanswered. Meanwhile, after the investigation, Drozdetsky was downranked to lieutenant and then transferred to the 200th Bomber Regiment, where he flew as a second navigator on the Tu-16. He remained with the Air Force up until his retirement in the rank of major, holding the position of the regiment's chief of headquarters, which probably means that even though Drozdetsky really sucked at navigation, he was nevertheless exceptionally good with mathematics. I just don't have another explanation for his successful career. I mean, those who are good at math always succeed because you need math literally every day. Of course, I'm not talking about the mathematical skills you might require to become a navigator in the Russian Air Force, because similar to 40 years ago, your primary tool would be not a computer but the so-called Anelka, a good old slide rule. But I mean those math skills that will help you in everyday decisions, even if you're just a casual person pursuing
It's a
whatever your
brilliant-
passion is.
it's segue
And
to
I
a
know what
brilliant
you'll
app.
say, I hate math. I know, I hate it too. Unlike most of you, I
Oh.
studied in a Soviet school, and my math classes were at least 1 hour every day, 6 days per week for 11 years.
Okay, it's over then. It's just a segue to a brilliant ad. Alright then. Well, there we go. The most efficient way to do nothing? What? RPCS3, what is this? I'm actually kind of curious. What is the most efficient way to do nothing?
The most efficient way to do nothing is to do nothing.
Okay.
Actually, the full quote is, the most energy efficient way to do nothing is to do nothing. But it's my professional opinion that all great quotes are misquoted. Now, I've already made a video that's all about power efficiency. That video was all about using big, complex instructions to do a lot of work efficiently. But by doing nothing more efficiently, we were able to reduce power draw in RPCS3, in Ninja Gaiden by 4 watts, in Demon Souls by 4 watts, and in Nier by 5
Okay.
watts. Now, it actually took many iterations for RPCS3 to get to the point where it can now do nothing efficiently. Here is the most basic do-nothing code that you can have. Here the CPU will simply check if the value true is true in a loop forever.
True, and yeah, that's pretty true. That's true, and yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. That's pretty true. That's pretty true. I mean, that's true.
Okay.
Now, that's not really so useful. But what if instead we wanted to do nothing for a specified amount of time? For instance, let's say we put something in the oven and we want to check in on it in 20 minutes. We could use this code, but it's going to be checking if 20 minutes is elapsed billions of times per second for 20 minutes straight. What a waste. Imagine if your smartphone started draining its battery every time you set an alarm. Now, there are actually a multitude of ways to reduce power when writing this kind of code. Some of the most naive power saving techniques. One thing we can do to make this code more efficient is to insert this pause intrinsic. This causes the compiler to emit the pause instruction, which quite literally causes the CPU to do nothing for a number of clock cycles. How long the CPU does nothing is up to the implementation, but it generally waits for less than 100 cycles. Actually, on my machine you can configure how many cycles this instruction waits for in the BIOS. Go figure. Now, the simplest infinite loop draw is 3.8 watts on a single core, using this loop. But by inserting pause in there, we cut power draw down to just 1.6 watts. That's more than twice as efficient, but we're still drawing way too much power. Now, there is a better way to wait efficiently, but we're going to need the operating system to help us. This code here is how we can tell Windows to let our core sleep for 500 microseconds at a time. This infinite loop draws just 0.8 watts since it's only checking if true is true 2,000 times a second. The most basic infinite loop was checking if true is true 5 billion times a second, while the loop with pause checks about 100 million times a second. That's a nice improvement, but when the cores are truly idle, they drop below 0.1 watt each. Now, why exactly is this pertinent? Why would we want to do nothing? Why does any of this matter? Enter the PlayStation 3 version of Nier. This game has a thread that tells the PlayStation 3 operating system to sleep this thread for 1 microsecond over and over. This is a problem since if we naively ask the Windows thread to sleep for 1 microsecond, we'll end up sleeping for 500 microseconds instead. This option in RPCS3 allows us to change this behavior. The as host setting will simply forward the requested time to the native operating system sleep or wait functions. The microsleep only option will accurately replicate PlayStation 3 microsleep behavior at the cost of some power, but conversely provide better performance in some games. On Linux we can actually set the timer precision to be much higher, to around 10 microseconds of precision, which means that only games like Nier, which wait for a single microsecond, need to have their microsleeps handled outside of the operating system. But we have a number of tricks to make the accurate microsleep implementation as performant as possible on Windows. First of all, when we're waiting, we're actually calling yield in a loop like this. Yield tells the operating system to try and run another thread instead. If there aren't any other threads that need to run, it returns execution back to our thread. This ensures that the microsleep emulation doesn't starve out other threads on machines with low core counts. The PlayStation 3 has 8 hardware threads available to games, so this is important for devices like Steam. Before we learn how RPCS3 essentially solves this issue on modern machines, let's first learn how x86 operating systems set the cores into a low power mode, and why Windows is limited to a 500 microsecond resolution. When you're sleeping threads on Linux or Windows, the hardware sets up a timer that will fire after a certain amount of time. On modern machines, this is the APIC timer. After the timer is set up, the machine executes the halt instruction, which will cause the machine to literally do nothing until the timer fires, or another interrupt wakes the core up. It should go without saying that having the timer fire at a higher resolution will cause the core to wake up more often and consume more power. Microsoft has arbitrarily set this limit to 500 microseconds, so that programmers don't blow up power usage. However, the alternative in most cases ends up burning more power. This limitation impacts more than just RPCS3. Check out this recent post in the Dolphin Emulators blog from this June. The developers wanted to create a more accurate frame limiter, and the conclusion they reached was to busy wait for the last millisecond. And yeah, just like RPCS3, they wait 95% of the way with power-efficient operating system functions, and then busy wait the last little bit by yielding the thread in a loop. This isn't even something that's limited to emulators though. This is really something that impacts any game with a frame limiter on Windows. Whenever you're writing a frame limiter, you'll need to consider trade-offs between power usage and accuracy. Maybe Windows 12 will fix all this nonsense. Here's the good news though. While instructions like halt are only usable by the operating system, Intel and AMD added instructions that allow you to wait on a timer in a power-efficient manner in user space. The bad news? This is one instance where Intel and AMD don't implement the same instructions. First, let's explain the instructions monitor and wait. These instructions take a memory address and wait in a power-efficient manner until something writes to the cache line that holds that address. Pretty sweet, but these instructions are only able to be used by the operating system. Well,
Yeah.
both AMD and Intel set out to fix this. First, AMD implemented Monitor X and Wait X. These instructions work just like Monitor and Wait, but they're usable in user space. More importantly for us, they also include a feature where you can specify a timeout in TSC clocks, and the machine will essentially sleep until that time has elapsed. Perfect, a user space sleep instruction. Only problem is, you need to know how fast the TSC clock is ticking, which differs per CPU. Operating systems don't provide a way to discover the TSC clock, so you essentially have to calibrate it yourself. Oh yeah, and when implementing this, you need to make sure that you set it up such that it monitors an address that won't be written to, if you want to use it as a user space sleep, that is. Now, Intel, rather than implementing these instructions, decided to make their own incompatible version. Intel implemented the wait package instructions, which include umonitor, umwait, and tpause. Umonitor and umwait are very similar to Monitor X and Wait X. They both work in user space and have a timeout feature. However, rather than timing out after a given number of TSC clocks have passed, it waits until the TSC passes an expected value. In practice, this means that you need to read the clock, add how much time you want to wait to that value, then pass that value back into the expected register. A trivial but silly difference. Now, Intel also implemented the tpause instruction. This instruction waits on a timeout just as umonitor and umwait do, but without the feature of waiting on a cache line, which makes it a little bit more optimal for the use case of implementing a user mode sleep. On AMD, these instructions are supported as far back as their Excavator CPUs from 2015. On Intel, the wait package instructions were implemented in 2021, starting with their 12th generation CPUs. Do you remember those power efficiency figures from the start of the video? Those were comparing power usage with and without the Monitor X Wait X pattern on my AMD 7800 X3D machine. On Intel with tpause, the gains in power efficiency were very similar. I wrote this code without an Intel machine of my own to test it on. Don't let it scare you, the gains can be brilliant. You know what else is brilliant? This video's sponsor. Brilliant has thousands of interactive lessons.
Okay, there you go. We're done with that. Alright. There's actually something I want to check real quick. Let's check what happened with the Infinity Nikki patch. Real quick. And then we'll do Snowbreak stuff. But yeah, that was basically a video from the an RPCS3 dev. They're just talking about, oh yeah, do nothing more efficiently. Oh wait, no, it needs to install the update. Okay, I'm just gonna wait for it to do that. I was also playing this in the background. So, yeah. Oh shit. Copperage, god damn it. Go Cherub. But yeah. So that hit really hard. Alright, let's kill that thing. Wait, no, Melmetal still survived. How the hell did it survive? Okay, now it's dead. There goes Articuno. Yeah, I'll take another shell bell. Alright, what's its reward? Oh, this thing is... Wait, I don't have any status for this shit. And it's soul cured. Oh wait, no. Brighton can just power through it. Brighton is just too strong. He could have just powered through it the whole time. Alright, Rhydon's electric moves just hit way too hard. Alright. Okay, let's see what happened with Infinity Nikki. I'll just quickly look. I don't know if I'll do the thing on there. And then we'll do Snowbreak after. Alright, let's see. Might as well give it a look. I did manage to get that outfit thing though. That was like screwing me over yesterday. I did make sure to grab it before. I set an alarm to get it as soon as it reset, grab the thing, and then yeah. Alright, let's give it a look. Let's get loaded on in.
Getting its floof yarn all over me.
Alright, let's see. Yeah, obviously this shit's gated anyway, so like no point in doing it now and just wait a bit first. They add more stuff here. I can claim that. What even was the outfits for this patch? What do we got here? Field's Call, Scarecrow headpiece, grabs a pinwheel, standstill. You get to attract birds, I guess. Oh, that's the 4-star one. Alright, this is a floating outfit. You get the staff. It will charge once fully, release it to use an aerial dash. Okay. Oh. Okay. You can like dash in the air with this. What? What do you mean nosebleed seats? The hell? What the hell are those? What the hell are nosebleed seats? Oh, those things. Yeah, no. $4,000 for seats that are that far away? Why? They're like, they're high and far from the stage or whatever you're watching? What the hell's the point if you're gonna get those types of seats? Why even bother? Especially at $4,000. Yeah, those are terrible. I don't know why the hell you would want to spend that much on those seats. That's dumb. That is super dumb. You know, hey, we could pull this. You know, let's get the outfit. Let's see. Doesn't really matter. This shit doesn't matter because you have to pull the entire outfit anyways. Yeah, like that's way too much, man. $4,000 for that? You can get a whole PC with a 5090 with it for that money. You can get a whole like PC with a 5090 for that money. But like also it's like you're gonna have a like getting like you're gonna have a better time just watching it whatever on some sort of other service. But yeah, that is crazy. A small ring that you need to use binoculars. It's ridiculous. Why the hell are people spending that much money on that shit? I question their intelligence. I question anyone's intelligence if they think it's a great idea to go and pay $4,000 on those terrible seats. Like I'm not really into the sports or any of those types of things, but like if I'm going to go to an event like that and I want to get a it's obviously because I want to go see the actual stuff there. So I'm going to want to at least get a good seat. But like $4,000 for a terrible seat? You might as well not even bother. You're just not gonna have a good time. Exactly, or you could watch it on a streaming service if you need to watch it live for a lot less too. Right, like how much are those like pay-per-view event things to go and watch your game? It's going to be a lot cheaper than $4,000, that's for sure. Right. Like if I really had to watch the thing, you know, $4,000 seats that are like that far back, you're not gonna have a good view. So there's like no point. I'm gonna guess like $30,000 or something crazy for those front row seats. That's my guess. But yeah, $4,000 for that kind of seat? Hell no. You know, I'll do the other 10 more pulls and get the decoration furniture. $170 pulls to get the full outfit. Was the damage here. There we go. Okay. Yeah, let's go see the thing. Oh yeah, we have like all these wheels now. Nice. Not that one. Here we go, this one. Okay, wait. It's kind of weird though. It's kind of scuffed. Especially because, like, you can't do another charge dash. Like, as cool as it looks, it's not that great. Honestly, it's worse than the other one. But we got the witch outfit. Yeah, it doesn't stand in place and you can't really charge it that nicely. The furlability is not really worth it. Like, it's not great. It's nice that you have, like, that dash, but, like, it's scuffed. Ooh, free furniture. Yeah, the hair there is... Yeah. What the hell is up with that hair? We'll play through the event stuff later in the patch. Because it's like always just gated for a bit, so it's like I'll do it after like a week or two. The hell is this? Oh, that's free. Okay, they want this is like you pay and then it gets bigger and more expensive, the packs or whatever. And then like there's another round and then another round. It's one of these. Okay. Okay, cool. I got a treadmill. Sure. Yeah. I'll have to look at that stuff after. Yeah. I don't think it's that common though. It depends on which tribe of them. Is Royal Fairy elegant? Okay, we're gonna need some shiny bubbles.
We begin with a magical encounter between a cadence board.
Yeah, okay. Oh yeah, that's right. We should have a new shop with the thing here. Okay. Big flower. Yeah, you need around like 1200 or so to like clean out the entire shop there. And then we're back to here. I gotta slowly try to clean this stuff up. No, I was not able to figure that out. No. I was not able to figure that out. They actually fixed it! Oh wait, no, never mind. The bug is still there. I thought they actually fixed it. No, the bug is still here. Nice. It's still bugged. The menu is still bugged. This bug is a really nice quality of life though. Because I can just do this. Yeah, it's this one. Oh, I need elegant bubbles. So let's go get some elegant bubbles. So we can see what the other recolor we got is. I wouldn't be surprised if the black version is the last one because they want you to go all the way and pull it twice. Even though like the black color for the witch outfit would be so fitting. There we go, we got a royal fairy outfit. It just went from white to a very, very light blue. It barely changed. And then we get green hair, whatever. That was such a tiny change. That felt so troll. How little that changed. Yeah, I'll get that maxed out later. Pastoral playful, and that's cool. Okay. There's a lot of those outfits I still need to slowly upgrade up. Yeah. It is a nice hat. Wait. No, wait, the first evolution is black. Oh, but the other one. Wait, no, that's a bit green. The really black one is the final evolution. Yeah, this one. The hair is different there too. Right? Oh wait, no, it's not. But yeah. You know, it's just a dark green. It's just the picture is scuffed. Yeah. I guess it does kind of remind of the witch there. But like, I'm not gonna go through the pain of pulling an entire outfit multiple times. I did it once with this one just to get the hair. Never again. This shit was pain to do. Yeah, it's underwhelming, man. The new outfit is underwhelming. Like, and then, like, you can't really charge it again after you release it. Nah. I was just curious to see the new jumping one. Because it's like another like movement ability outfit. But like this is just worse than the other wings one. The other wings one was better. Which is unfortunate. Yeah. I'm gonna use this one again. The winged hover, because then I could just float. Which is a lot more useful. But yeah. Oh, I now have like no more resources. Like there went all my pulls. It's fine. And then I'll just do all the stuff in the patch here later. Once it's like actually all available. Right now it's like I gotta hoard for like another 2 patches before I can decide if I'm gonna pull again.
Mama, be careful. Don't blow away. It's just a light breeze. I'm not worried at all.
Surely. Well, that's in a couple of months, so we're good. By the time we'll get to that point, I'll get by the time, you know, we get to anniversary, if I don't pull on anything else, I'll have enough to just pull the anniversary outfit. So that's fine. Yeah, so we have time for that. Don't need to worry about that. I don't think I did. I see. But we'll do the event stuff in there and whatnot later. You need to use pay gems? Yeah, nah. Like, imagine having to use pay gems, man. The game doesn't even work and let me use my freaking housing. Shit's why I never bother to do anything with it. Because they won't let me do anything with it. You got the... okay. I see, I'll look at this stuff later. I still have some gems. But yeah. Alright, we'll do Snowbreak stuff now, and then we'll have that transition into the other thing after. Because we're done with reacts and stuff anyways. And then from there, we can do the drops thing again. Alright. Let me get it booted up. Alright, let's get loaded on in. Alright, let's get on in.
Who are you looking for? If it isn't me, I won't let you off that easy.
You know, the covering the eyes thing, it would be great if it, like, it went in front of those pop-ups. So you could actually have that effect in there. But nope. It's dumb, man. Yep, we can wait before we use those. Yeah, because I'm gonna save them for when we get the free unit. The free Cirrus. The things there. Right, I want to see what the hell is going on with Cirrus there. Yeah, you're gonna have to like go farm the other thing and destroy the things then. I constantly run out of those too. So what you do is just you go farm one of the other stages with the logistics drop. And then you just destroy them to get more of those cards. No, you don't do that. That's not what you do. That's not as efficient as the for your stamina. That's not efficient. What you want to actually do is this. You go here. You go to operation. And you do raging fire. And then you auto clear this. And then you destroy all the logistics you get. You get more cards that way. For less presence. It's more efficient to do it this way. You just do this and you destroy them. It's quite a bit better to do it that way than to do it from here. Than to just like buy the ones here. Because you only get what, 16 per run or whatever? Was it 8 or how much per run? Well, the other one you'll get an actual full drop or 2. And then you can convert that to 10 shards. Instead of having to do, yeah, you only get 15 per run. Where you have to do 4 runs here to get 10 shards. Right? Like, that's significantly less efficient. Right? Like, it's almost 4 times more efficient to just go here, do Raging Fire, and then just destroy the loot after, if you need those cards. Do it that way. It's a lot more efficient. That's what I've been doing.
How do you know I wanted this, darling?
But yeah, now you know. Do it that way. Yeah, very nice maths. Always important. Right, what was the thing here? Yeah, there's Gigalinks and stuff that need to get done. Alright, let's see. Surely there's enough people matchmaking here. I mean, it's cool and all. Oh yeah, but if you get rubber banded and stuff, that's a wrap. Some of the stuff can be kind of scuffed. Bit confusing though on the weapon that you're starting off with or whatever. But yeah, it can be a bit at the start. Oh, let's do it again. Or when you close, it turns into a zombie, yeah. It's a bit awkward, like the range for that stuff.
Welcome to the Heimdall Operational Optimization Test. Adjutant, don't get assimilated by the hams.
You get the meal one? Alright, we're gonna wait for ham. Yeah, you just can't match them there, yeah. What's matching, man?
2, 1. Gear up. Test sequence initiated. Go take down the hams or risk a system-wide wipe. Just kidding. Loot drop. Grab it fast. Loot drop. Grab it fast.
Alright, let's see. Bam! Loot 30 drop. Seconds to grab it fast. Adjutant, think you can hold out a little longer? The hell, that guy just got rubber banded.
Run complete. Test executed perfectly.
Alright, cool. How'd I do?
As expected.
How am I only 6th place?
Total success.
The fuck? How the hell am I only 6th place? Whatever. I guess there's too many people's skill issue, man. That they got assimilated or whatever. You gotta do a complete 10 games, complete 6 in any mode. Okay. Yeah, you gotta do 2 assimilations, and then 2 classic ones. Right, but we can slowly get that done. We don't really have to rush that right now. Supreme Battleground? No, that's not open yet. Alright, there's also a Gigalink thing. Surely game is alive enough for Gigalink, right? Surely. Surely it's alive enough for it. Come on, surely it's not that dead at 3 AM. I'll do the other thing at the base then. That's a new one. Not good though. That's better. I've never seen that pattern before, where like, it just has like no space at all for anything in it. Too bad I have nothing to use those Opal vouchers on. I have so many of them, but like no use for them. I have a lot of these. There we go. I cleaned up my inventory thing. Now I have a lot of these. A lot of these 1 blocks again. Right, what's here? Alright, we got another decoration there. And then there's all this stuff. And there's just this stuff. We can do that later. But yeah, it's like always just so dead, just like with like nothing to do. And then gotta wait for the other stuff, the rest of the event stuff to unlock. I mean, there's that stuff. But I'd rather just like ration that out for later in the patch. If you know what I mean. But yeah. Well, it is what it is. And I still need to get better logistics for her. And the other stuff not available yet either, anyways. Ikamake. You missed, like, everything earlier. We did reacts and all sorts of other things. You missed it. And now we're like, you even missed the Pepega Infinity Nikki polls. But you also missed this thing, which was also kind of funny. Someone took a piece of the Ananta trailer, and then they used AI to inject this thing in there. Look at this. This is so dumb. It's... Or they injected themselves into Ananta. But yeah, funny stuff. Okay, I don't know what that thing, what it autoplayed there, but yeah. Yeah, well, that's what happened, man. Is there like anything else we can do, or is like everything just so dodge? Because we're basically just done with everything, man. Up until we have to wait till reset to have more stuff to do and stuff like that. Oh shit, we didn't see Mr. Cake, he has Nanto video, right? Nanto animations? Alright. Let's just give it a look. A Nanto. Yeah, I know, but I don't have to read Chinese. Alright, we got Nanto, a Nanto. It's a Nanto. There's one Nanto, so it's a Nanto. Right? Yeah, this kit thingy is... Yeah. They want to go jump ship to find another thing to prop up. To keep doing what they're doing, man. They gotta keep up their grift. Wait, what's a Nanto's trait? Wait, that's worse than Claudia's trait. Is it? Oh wait, no, it's for each physical weapon. Never mind. It is better than Claudia's trait. Okay.
Shh， 此刻有好多人还没有睡醒，我正准备来找你。 此刻有好多人还没有睡醒。
Okay. That is A3, right? The A3 is a red dragon arm? Okay. Okay, now with the red one. Hold release, wait. Hold release? Okay. Yeah, they're just weird, man. Whatever. Hey, he needs a helmet for Kamen Rider, yeah. Wait, what is this? Skill, attack, hold, what? I'm so confused. What the hell is that? It is incredibly flashy. I have no idea what the hell's going on. What is going on? What? You can... Why can't you just full on ride the dragon, man? You can ride it for like 2 seconds. And then he gets off and then you can do it again. Come on, let him ride the dragon full on. Full stop.
习惯了过分和平的生活后，对于力量的渴望就会躁动。艾达人开始尝试捕获马了。青霜，你在听吗？习惯了过分和平的生活后，对于力量的渴望就会躁动。艾达人开始尝试捕获马了。青霜，你在听吗？青霜，稳实一切。
Okay, that's the turn that you're gonna jump cancel.
青霜，稳实一切。
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck is going on. What is going on? Like, bruh. Right. You can turn off those effects. Yeah, no, you can turn off a lot of those effects, don't worry. It's just like, what the fuck? No, but like, yeah, there is a setting to turn off the camera moving like that. That is a setting. It's like skill something, and then like, there's like another one that you have to turn off as well. I already have them turned off on my client. I always have them off. Because that shit is annoying. This shit's worse than the camera freaking out back when like Saki Alice Lin comp was the thing people would play. Because like you would have this shit go crazy all the time back then. If you ever played Saki Alice Lin back then, and you had the default camera settings, you would literally see this every 3 seconds. Like, actually no, it was worse because you would zoom in further because of how Saki's skill goes. It would actually be, it was even worse. But yeah, you can turn it off. So like, it's fine. Very cinematic, but then there's so much noise that it's like, what am I even looking at now? Oh yeah, nothing there. Just killing Kalkai. Okay, that's it. It's just, we get to see the camera go crazy. You should have turned off the camera, Mr. Editor, when he was recording that. Too bad he didn't. If he did though, it would have been great. Because then you'd actually be able to see what's going on. Right? Then you'd actually be able to see it. Too bad he didn't. Surely we can get someone here. No? Anyone? Nobody. I'm curious, did they add anything here? There was like, they keep doing hotfixes. So it's like, maybe they added in a hotfix? Because they did that with Clarina. We had Clarina in here last patch. Even though she was released last patch. Clarina was added in here early. Oh, guess not. I don't see her. Yeah, I don't see her here. I guess she wasn't. Oh, that's unfortunate. No Clarina in here. Not Clarina. No Fenny, the new one. She gave up on clothes. Ah, yes. You gotta give up on them clothes.
Breakfast time.
I don't know how, like, why anyone would wear this type of swimsuit though. It's like, bro, the things can like easily slip off when it's like this. Right, like no one's like, surely no one's actually trying to swim like this. They're just wearing it for show cause like, you know, you actually try to do stuff in there. It's not hard for this stuff to just slip off. Especially when they're this big. Right now she's all wet.
All over me. Here.
Yeah, I don't understand either, man.
Cheers.
Ask for a grease slider. Oh boy.
Our breakfast is dripping away. I'll get it.
Yeah, cause like if you go diving in like that, it's gonna freaking come off if you wear this shit. Like if you were actually like to wear this shit like this, they would like if you did what you didn't just dive in there, they're immediately gonna come off. They're gonna come off immediately if you jump in or dive in. They're immediately gonna come off. But yeah. They love to add grease to the characters, of course they do. Anime physics, yeah. Yeah, but I think you guys would like it if it was realistic physics, wouldn't you? Although, if that was the case, you wouldn't be able to see it on stream. I don't know, man. But I'm pretty sure you guys would like it if it was realistic. Because if they're realistic, these would be off. They would be off and you get to see the thing. Yeah, if they were actually realistic. Right? This is like one of the cases where it's like you would probably, if this is what you want, you would want it to be realistic. Because then you get to actually see more. You would instantly, yeah. And also in that case, yeah, real breasts are not jello, exactly. But the diving into the water and having this thing like them pop out would happen. Especially when you start adding a bunch of pressure and going in. But yeah. Especially when you're jumping out, adding the extra force in there. That's what's gonna happen. They're not jello, but like they're gonna slip off. Like you can like it's just funny that these are the thing, but like they're completely impractical. But yeah, they are a thing. Yeah, the weight alone would make them fall out. That is true. At this size, yeah, the weight alone would make them fall out. But in the case that they don't fall out, going into the water will make them come off. from the pressure. Yep, no support at all. It's the same thing for what Narita has over there. Again, same problem. Right. Right, Narita would have the same problem. It's not as bad though. Narita's a lot safer because there's at least some support there. Right? Like there's at least something to keep its shape there a bit more. But like again, like if you go diving, they're gonna pop off. Especially with like these extra points of failure here. Depending on like how you're diving, it's gonna break. So you cannot go diving in this. For example. Like this is... Oh, you know, this seems like it's even more at risk to break. At least on this side. But this is still a lot better than, thing. Yeah, you should not be wearing stuff that's too small for you. It is not good. But yeah. It's another anime logic, yeah. Somehow MC can withstand those. I know.
Give me one like yesterday's. They've already gone? Then give me more.
You know what? Should we just see if what the idols are? Because we didn't. I don't think we bothered to look at all the idol animations. Let's let her idle here for a bit. See if anything happens. Because that was an animation I didn't see before. Yep. And they wonder why. It's like, you're not wearing stuff that'll keep its shape and do the thing properly. It's like, no wonder you get those wardrobe malfunctions. It's like, you wear this shit. It's like, yeah. Of course it's gonna happen. You don't want it to happen, don't wear this type of thing. Right? It's that simple. You can get the stuff, you can wear stuff where this is not gonna be a problem. Maybe I just have to click it.
Darling, let me warm up in your arms.
Yeah, they really want the jiggle there.
Today. My darling is all mine. Feeling parched.
Where'd she get that from?
Darling, want a sip?
So, you wear a blanket, don't go outside, true. That is so true. Just don't go outside.
Darling, give me one like yesterday's. They've already gone? Then give me more.
Alright. There's all the interactions there. But yeah, we'll just save that for later. Same with the other thing. We'll do the actual thing for score later in the patch. Because that'll be how I deal with the quota stuff after the fact. Right. But yeah. Because, like, it's not like there's anything else to do. And, like, queuing for Gigalink is dead. Gotta do it at a better time. Right, is dead. So that's a bust. Yep. That's true. If they start breaking, you need to go get a new one. I mean, yeah. Of course. But that said, though, I guess it's just we'll end it here for the night then. Right, as usual, though, thank you guys all for stopping by. Hopefully I can see you guys again next time and everything. You guys have a good day or night or whatever. I'll put it back to AFK drops mode. And then I'll see you guys then. And then, yeah. I'll end the YouTube segment here. So yeah, I'll see you guys. See ya.